Invincible at the start, Chapter 50. Senior, I implore you to save Nine Swords Sect. The Nine Swords Sect, one of the strongest factions in Ghost Province, had 9 towering peaks reaching over 4,000 meters into the sky, drawing a natural world sword array that hummed with deadly sword energy. The dense spiritual energy the Nine Swords Sect enjoyed made it a paradise, blending naturally with the drifting mist and sword energy. Today the sect leader Ling Qingshan made an announcement with Grand Elder's approval. They were to fight Ghost Skull Sect even if the enemy had immortals backing them. The main and only reason Nine Swords Sect came to this decision was because of Ling Bao's master, Qin Chang'an. One of their Grand Elders was a seer, able to divine fate and turn misfortune into blessing. They tried looking into Qin Chang'an, only ending up with their Grand Elder seer suffering such a severe backlash that he lost 1,000 years of his lifespan. The Grand Elders of the Nine Swords Sect gasped in utter shock at this development, yet it also worked to validate their theory of Qin Chang'an being an immortal slayer. They went against Ghost Skull Sect since the sect leader's daughter was Qin Chang'an's disciple, which implicated them as well. They couldn't just make Ling Bao look bad either. That wouldn't do. For threatening us, Ghost Skull Sect's days are numbered. Hear. They can have all the immortals they want, for our sect leader's daughter's master is an immortal slayer. Do they take us for pushovers? Depending on how good the result is, do you think Senior will give our sect some of those blood pills, Ling Hai? The Grand Elders chatted on their way to Ghost Skull Sect. Ling Hai smiled, I'm not sure, but with Senior's character, he'll be sure to look after our sect. Black mist appeared up ahead, a huge mass that covered the skies, and ghastly, shrill screams came from within. We're entering Ghost Skull Sect's lands. Humph, we're finally here. Time to put them in their place and make them think twice about messing with us. A few Grand Elders sped up, not even bothering to conceal their auras, letting it run rampant. The sunrise, a serene and breathtaking moment, bathed the world in gentle hues of pink and gold as the sun emerged over the horizon, illuminating the earth with its warm, golden embrace. Qin Chang'an was snoring in the temple on his bed. Ling Bao was sneaking in with a bowl of soup. Master, wake up and eat your snake soup. Qin Chang'an yawned, slowly getting up. Bao, you're up early. Ling Bao smiled, Master, it's almost noon, and blew on the steaming snake soup. Master, you had Brother Ox snatch some earth python from Myriad Mountains last night and I turned it into stew this morning as you asked. Care to have a taste? Qin Chang'an smiled, Bao, you're an incredible cook. Of course it's tasty. I smelled it in my dream. Hi, Master, let me feed you. Ling Bao beamed at the praise. It's fine. Qin Chang'an rolled his eyes. He wasn't that much of a deadbeat. Taking the bowl and going into the garden, Ling Bao skipped right behind him. Bao, what fine weather we're having. How long do you think it'll take those immortals to get to Soaring Immortal Mountain? Ling Bao rolled her cute head in thought, soon I think. Qin Chang'an nodded, eager for some immortals to come knocking and scare the living daylights out of the Heavenly Fox clan. As he turned to the steaming bowl in his hand, his face split into a wide smile. Taoba Yi had been hard at work last night in finding one particular earth python from the vast Myriad Mountains. A nascent soul demon king had no trouble finding some chi-refining snake. The particular reptile was thrust out of its habitat and into a pot on Soaring Immortal Mountain in mere hours. The scared little demon was baffled as to why a demon king would waste his time with a nobody like him. It only dawned on it seeing Qin Chang'an again. The instant he saw the former easy prey, he knew his fate was sealed, ending up as a morning soup. Qin Chang'an took a sip, relishing the flavor. Bao is getting better and better at this. After finishing the soup he asked, Bao, where's Taoba Yi? Master, we ran out of draconic fowl kings these days and went to get some more. Oh? Qin Chang'an's eyes drifted to the everlasting immortal tree. Its flowers were wilting and revealed the green fruit growing within. Unlike any other immortal land out there, this one enjoyed Qin Chang'an's special creation trait's attention. Soon the everlasting immortal fruit will ripen. I wonder how Shizini is doing in Cloud Province. Just then a light flashed far in the distance, shooting straight for his mountain. The light faded and revealed Ling Qingshan. Ling Bao perked up, Master, why is Dad here? As Ling Qingshan approached, his grave face and frown spoke of his troubles. Senior, I implore you to save Nine Swords Sect. Ling Qingshan pleaded, kneeling before him. Qin Chang'an's power blocked his knees from reaching the ground. I can't just have my disciple's father kneeling. Qin Chang'an frowned. Save Nine Sword Sect? What happened? Having burst into the immortal temple, the immortal energy of the land flooded his senses and left him speechless. He snapped back to attention. Young master, the immortals are here. You must save Nine Sword Sect. The immortals? Qin Chang'an's eyes lit up. Fabulous. He was getting tired of waiting for those slowpokes. What do they have against your sect? Didn't I tell you to have the Ghost Skull sect and the immortals come to Soaring Immortal Mountain for the sacred immortal sword? Ling Qingshan hung his head. At the Ghost Skull sect's outrageous demands, we wanted to fight for you and quell their arrogance. We had no idea that we'd be meeting with the immortal, and now all grand elders are held hostage in the Ghost Skull sect. Qin Chang'an was silent. You call that fighting in my name? First Ling Qingshan disdained him, and now he respected him so much, even believing he could beat an immortal. Ling Baoer was frantic. Dad, Grandpa Hai was taken too? Ling Qingshan sighed and nodded. We had the worst luck, meeting an immortal from the start. On any given day, the Ghost Skull sect had no chance when Nine Sword Sect's grand elders attacked. Alas, the immortal happened to be around this one time and now took all of them hostage. If the immortal killed them, the Nine Sword Sect was screwed. At the very least, they would sink from the top of Ghost Province to rock bottom. Ling Qingshan panicked and could only come to Qin Chang'an for help. Invincible at the Start, Chapter 51, Immortals' Pressure and Calamity. Master. Ling Baoer turned her big doe eyes on him. Qin Chang'an was her master, but Ling Qingshan was her father. She hoped he'd save them. Qin Chang'an nodded. That was merely in passing though, since he always had plans to kill those immortals. Saving them was a given with their removals. Don't go giving me that look. Of course I'd help. Qin Chang'an smiled. Thank you, master. Ling Baoer was grateful but also guilty. It's all my fault for making it hard on master. Ling Qingshan finally relaxed. Words aren't enough to thank you, senior. Senior is free to make use of my sect as you wish. Qin Chang'an waved him off. Since they came for the immortal treasure, why not just come to Soaring Immortal Mountain? The easiest way to save the Nine Sword Sect was to just kill all immortals. As for the Ghost Skull Sect, they would hand over the hostages after that show of force. Two birds with one stone. Senior, immortals can't stay long in the lower realm, and since they've been around for a while, they must be in the Myriad Mountains already. Great, so wait here for the immortals to drop dead. Then you can go to the Ghost Skull Sect for your people. And they will release Nine Sword Sect's grand elders if they want to keep breathing the same air as us. Thank you so much, senior. Ling Qingshan was touched to the core. After a couple hours of waiting around, the dark clouds loomed over with great speed, drowning the lands in shades of gray. Following the clouds came the immortal pressure, slamming hard into the Myriad Mountains and driving the dread deep in the hearts of any monster or demon roaming about. The hidden demons also felt it, stirred from their seclusion along with the leaders of other demon clans. Where did this insane pressure come from? That's an immortal's pressure. An immortal has come. The immortal's pressure was conspicuous compared to the aura of cultivators, demons, monsters, and spirits on the Nine-Province continent. It was almighty, all-encompassing, and horrible to such a degree that it couldn't come from anywhere but an upper realms immortal. What was going to happen to Myriad Mountains? All the demon clans shivered under the impossible aura of an immortal. Of them, the Heavenly Fox clan was hidden and long-lasting in Myriad Mountains history. Two demon lights shot from their home and stood 10 miles in the sky. The lights faded to reveal one older and another younger woman. The latter wore all white. Baiyu looked grave in the distance. Grandmother, is this pressure from immortals? Grandmother had white hair, a hunched back, and many marks of time on her aged face. Her eyes, though, were sharp. She spoke, yes. Immortals have descended upon Myriad Mountains. Immortals have descended. Could this be due to the fallen immortal treasure a few days ago? Baiyu worried. Sister Hong Yi said the immortal treasure is now with the young master's disciple. Aren't they in danger? The hag sneered. The immortal treasure is too important to be left in the hands of filthy lower realm denizens. Mark my words, Baiyu, all attempts to grasp it will suffer a swift ending at the hands of the immortals. Will the immortals kill them? Immortals are cruel. Haven't you wondered why we never sent anyone to get the immortal treasure? We could have taken it, but then our clan would have died this very day. Baiyu, you call that senior strong but strong enough to fight off an immortal? I was wise to keep Hong Yi and Foxy here and avoid a pointless death. They will thank me later. Bai Yu sighed, not knowing what to say. Chen Chang'an left a deep impression of a towering and mighty character. It was Hong Yi's honor to serve him, but no matter how amazing he might be, there was no beating an immortal. The immortals of the upper realm would be sure to crush any that stood in their way. The matron grimaced and looked shocked. Grandmother, what is it? Bai Yu noticed the change. 12 immortals. Why so many? To think 12 immortals have descended? The matron shook all over. She thought it would only be one immortal, only now to realize there were 12 of them. Sending so many over one immortal treasure? She knew better than most just how hard it was for an immortal to descend. One of them set loose on the myriad mountains was bad enough, but with 12 the whole world could fall. Chen Chang'an invoked a worldly calamity by taking the immortal treasure. Invincible at the start, Chapter 52. Bauer, wanna see me kill immortals? Senior, they're here. The restless Ling Qingshan felt the terrifying immortal auras gripping his heart harder with every new one that appeared. Chen Chang'an stood in the immortal temple, hands behind him, with a steady gaze and casual look. Ling Bauer was by herself with worried. Only upper realm immortals could cause such a shift in the world from such a distance. Chen Chang'an sighed. The world lost color and all joy drained from it, while the earth threatened to rupture. The end was nigh. An immortal's aura was so outrageous not even the world could take it. 9 province continents principles were working hard to withstand those immortals' rampant display of power. The principles were unable to contain it fully, proving to every man, demon, or monster that an immortal was beyond what 9 province continent could handle, to the point they could destroy these lands with ease. But as the 9 province continent was a world, it would take more than just an immortal to shatter it. That went double when the sky was endless while an immortal's power was not. However, 9 province continent just happened to be a mere slice, a negligible fraction in the whole universe. Would immortals give a damn about it? No, just like how we would ignore ants passing by or squashing them without even noticing. Master, I'm scared. Ling Bauer tensed up, hugging his arm tighter. This was the only way to quell the increasing dread. Chen Chang'an smiled. Bauer, have no fear, for I am here. I've been waiting for these immortals to show up for too long. Ling Qingshan revered him even more at his words. Senior is so confident. He must have a way to deal with immortals. Rumble. 12 ancient war chariots thundered through the sky, shuddering the heavens. The demons of myriad mountains paled. The immortals are here. 12 chariots, that means 12 immortals. Heavens, this is a disaster. The descent of 12 immortals was impossible to cover, and news of them terrorizing Ghost Province spread like wildfire. Behind the immortals was a group of people led by Ghost Skull sect leader Chiu Chintu and the Grand Elders. They were smug, coming out with their ancestor, making sure to spread the news that their sect had an immortal behind them. After all, they loved picking on the weak the most. They were sure that no power in Ghost Province would mess with them again, out of fear of the immortals' retaliation. 12 war chariots, so 12 immortals. This should be good. Chen Chang'an smirked. The more the merrier, for the fewer they were the fewer domain points he'd earn. Time to see just how much I'll reap from killing one. Chen Chang'an was getting excited just by thinking about it. The chariots were immortal artifacts, engraved in immortal runes that glowed and shifted as they formed dragons and mythical creatures of lore, adding to their immortal aura. The thick immortal pressure warped the air around them, threatening to collapse the fabric of reality. No one in the whole of 9 province continent could ever match such might. For this was an immortal, above the mortal coiled. Bauer, give me the sacred immortal sword. Ling Bauer complied. Chen Chang'an's robe billowed in the wind, flexing his mind to pour absolute domain's power into the sword. A ringing drowned the world, followed by an explosion of sword aura. The 12 immortals inside the war chariots felt its power. It's the immortal lord's sacred immortal sword. It's here. Death to all who touch immortal lord's treasure. With 12 immortals, the pressure mounted even more on the myriad mountains. The demons, monsters, and spirits dropped to the ground, shaking in fear and horror. Ling Bauer, Ling Qingshan, and Chen Chang'an were the only ones safe from their endless power, within the range of the absolute domain. Ling Qingshan was touched. This is the immortal slayer, of boundless might, protecting me from their unstoppable immortal pressure. Ling Bauer blinked. Bauer, wanna see me kill immortals? Of course. She looked forward to it. Quite cocky, thinking of killing us as a puny mortal. One immortal boomed and thunder rumbled. The 12 gave Qin Chang'an a cold look. The towering immortal pressure slammed down on the world like an endless tide, pulverizing any life in its wake. To their immense surprise, Qin Chang'an, Ling Bao'er and Ling Qingshan were untouched. The youth holding the immortal lord's sword showed not the slightest care either. He was nothing but a wretched mortal that got his hands on the sacred immortal sword and so ran his mouth. At least that was their first thought. Qin Chang'an showed no fear. Immortals and mortals differ, yet it does not signify the latter are weaker. My words aren't empty. Don't believe me? Try me. You're amusing for a lower realm bug. An immortal mocked and disregarded his taunt. Qiu Qin sighed, he's still talking big even now. Doesn't he know he's in the presence of upper realm immortals? Qiu Qin noticed Ling Qingshan and jeered. What was Nine Sword Sect thinking taking his side? They must have been suicidal. Qiu Qin's ambition surged in his heart. Once his ancestor recovered the sacred immortal sword, he would kill Nine Sword Sect's grand elders and then set his sights on the sect itself. Humph, by taking over Nine Sword Sect, my sect will soar. With ancestors' protection, in a couple of millennia we'll overtake the strongest ancient Phoenix sect, and rule over Ghost Province. Invincible at the start, Chapter 53, a simp ends with nothing in the end. 12 immortals graced the soaring immortal mountain with their presence, stirring all the demons, monsters and spirits within myriad mountains. Their attention was focused on this lone mountain, curious as to who could have made the incredible immortals show up here. An absolute minority of demon kings and demon clans figured out that it might have to do with the immortal treasure being on that hunk of rock. Qin Chang'an faced the 12 immortals without care, wielding the sacred immortal sword. The prevalent silence was heavy, with only their breathing being heard. Hand it over. One immortal demanded. Qin Chang'an smiled, come and take it if you can. Humph, ignorant little bug. The immortals entered soaring immortal mountain. Qin Chang'an watched them coming closer and closer to his absolute domain. He got it to extend up to 83 meters. The immortals had no idea what they got themselves into as they finally took their first steps into its range. Ling Qingshan was filled with fear and awe, not even daring to look the immortals in the eye. Ling Bao'er was the same. The difference between immortals and mortals was innate, making her heart jump with fright, but as she watched her master talking to them like average people, she gritted her teeth. Master's disciple. I can't shame him. I won't. She quelled the increasing fear and forced herself to look at the immortals. Qin Chang'an chuckled, that's my disciple. He expected his disciple not to cower before mere immortals and to show bravery, just like what Ling Bao'er was doing right now. It was only a matter of time before she would never fear them again. The moment the 12 immortals stepped into the absolute domain, they grimaced. Immortal energy. Why does this puny lower world have immortal energy? That's an immortal tree as well. An immortal gasped, the everlasting immortal tree is fruiting soon. Immortal energy and immortal air. Is this an immortal land? The 12 immortals were baffled. They were blind to the ultimate power of the absolute domain, only able to sense the land's change and the immortal energy. The thick immortal energy here was beyond even Black Tortoise immortal domain. It was a top-tier immortal land. What was such a land doing in a lower world? The shock of the discovery was so great they forgot why they were here in the first place. Qin Chang'an smiled at their comments. And you call yourself upper realm immortals? Why so stunned? Ling Qingshan was bug-eyed, his mind frozen. It's actually an immortal land. It finally dawned on him why he felt off here. Heavens above. There's an immortal land in the lower realm. It's more than a sanctuary. It's a paradise for cultivation. He was very curious if cultivating here would turn him immortal. One thing's for sure, my girl picked a mighty fine master. Ling Bao'er blinked. Immortal land? What's that? She never heard of it. Isn't this just a sanctuary? The last time Ghost Skull Sect and Evil Dragon Den were fighting over it, and now even immortals crave it. Is such a place rare even in the upper realm? The immortals overheard her and looked on with disdain. Lower realm hick. You can't even tell an immortal land from a sanctuary. An immortal land contains immortality, the best place for immortals to cultivate. In the Black Tortoise immortal domain, every immortal lord has an immortal land. Our lord included. As his men we got to enjoy its benefits as well. That is why we know more than others. Natural, that's why this is even more shocking. It wasn't just the shock of finding an immortal land in the lower realm, They were overwhelmed by the thick immortal energy filling their bodies, having just stepped inside it. These few moments simply brimmed them with newfound strength. Their immortal power grew with every passing second. Damn it! This immortal land makes our lords look like a dump. They were overwhelmed by how much energy the immortal land Xinchang'an created by infusing the absolute domain with everlasting immortality. We have to take this land back on Black Tortoise immortal domain. One immortal spoke gravely. Absolutely. The rest were burning with greed. Qiu Qinta looked from afar. Why are the immortals and ancestor just standing there? He was too far to hear the details. An immortal land is a treasure, but now there's the everlasting immortal tree as well. Taking them to our Lord will shower us with great rewards. Haha, stop being simps while wagging your tails. Why not take them for yourself? Qin Chang'an mocked. Master, what's a simp? Ling Baoer cocked her head. A simp sucks up and either gets nothing or everything. Though from what I see, these simps are the former. Why nothing? Qin Chang'an exploded with bloodlust as he grinned at the 12 immortals. Because they're all going to die. Invincible at the start, Chapter 54, Human Killing, World Upheaval. A simp got nothing in the end. Qin Chang'an's taunt had the immortals boiling mad. Ain't nobody bug from the lower realm thinks of killing us. You're nothing. Ling Qingshan revered Qin Chang'an's bravery in facing the immortals. Only Senior could call them that. The immortals felt no cultivation from Qin Chang'an, and while they showed utter disdain, they were wary of him. He had to be someone to get the sacred immortal sword, have an immortal land and an immortal tree on top of it. Not to say they weren't confident in succeeding. After all, they weren't immortals for nothing. No matter what, some mere mortal from the lower realm could not top them. So go ahead, try killing me, take my land, the sword, and the everlasting immortal tree if you can, that is. Qin Chang'an taunted further. The 12 immortals' aura exploded as they charged with the full intent to do just that. Qiu Qintu's group watched from afar as the action started. The immortals are attacking. They waited for them to get rid of Qin Chang'an. Qin Chang'an chuckled, your words are harsh, yet I don't feel any contempt for how you're attacking me together. Not like it'll make a difference. Qin Chang'an waved the sacred immortal sword. He knew nothing about the sword arts on the 9-province continent. He only dabbled in the forms due to his hobby on Earth. He executed a slash at the incoming enemies. It looked so average the immortals mocked. Immortal Lord's vital artifact can only show its power in his hands alone. A lower realm bug has no right to wield it. The smirks froze on their faces and then devolved into goony looks of shock. Qin Chang'an's slash made the sacred immortal sword unleash a glorious light show, its mighty power sending violent waves of destruction. The immortals felt its power growing and growing while their worry mounted. As the slash came, sword lights flooded the world. Heaven killing, star destruction. Earth killing, dragons demised. Human killing, world upheaval. Sensing the changes within the sword, the 12 immortals were gripped by fear. One of them shouted, he's not human, flee. The instant they fought Qin Chang'an for real, they knew they were going to suffer, opting to run away for their lives. They all moved to dodge the slash, rustled, they turned into immortal lights and used all their power to get away. They were so focused on fleeing that they slammed with their backs into the absolute domain's limit, trapping them. Their hearts sank, but at least they got away from Qin Chang'an, or so they thought. The more they watched, the paler they got. The sacred immortal sword tore a black scar into the fabric of space, containing utter annihilation. Not even immortals could escape such destructive force. The 9-province continent had its own principles, and so did the Black Tortoise immortal domain they came from. While they could suppress the former's principles, they could never break them and tear the fabric of space. That would need power beyond what the 9-province continent's principles could withstand. Something Qin Chang'an's slash had in spades. In their dusty memories, one ancient passage emerged that sent every immortal into shaking from terror. Is he the immortal slayer? The immortal slayer isn't an immortal but had the power of one. As the immortals were in the lower realm, they couldn't use their power of principles due to this world's interference. Thus they were weakened here. This was why the worst thing a descending immortal could ever encounter was an immortal slayer. They were an immortal's bane. It had been ages since the last immortal slayer, but now they had the sheer dumb luck of meeting one here of all places. Invincible at the start, Chapter 55, Threat and Proper Burial. The 12 immortals felt like crying as they scrambled about for any means of freedom, But Qin Chang'an made sure there would be no escape from his absolute domain. After all, they were too valuable to pass up. They were walking and talking domain points. He lowered his sword and looked curiously at the violent rend in reality. What's this? He reached out for it. Black light wrapped around his hand and vanished. The immortals were dumbstruck. The black glow was the power of a tear in space, capable of forcing even their immortal lord back. But this guy was too casual about it. The rend healed. Qin Chang'an looked at the dumb immortals. Immortals sure are something. They managed to survive my slash. The garden was eerily silent, with only Qin Chang'an speaking. Ling Qingshan, the immortals, and Qiu Qintu's group from afar were frozen as they just gawked at Qin Chang'an. The shock fried their brains. So, strong? Ling Qingshan gulped hard. He merely guessed Qin Chang'an was an immortal slayer, but not one so outrageous as this, to the point that the immortals could do nothing but fleech. They didn't even try blocking, merely able to run for their lives. How can this be? Qiu Qintu paled and stammered from sheer disbelief. Ling Baoer's eyes sparkled as she gazed upon her almighty master. Qin Chang'an's hair flowed in the wind, and the sacred immortal sword in his hand made him look like a dominating sword, immortal, cool, and awesome. It was as if the world was his oyster. Qin Chang'an hooked his finger at the panicking immortals. Don't just stand there. Our fight has just begun. Hey, are you an immortal slayer? One immortal stammered in terror. What's that? Is it strong? Qin Chang'an asked. The 12 immortals were silent, feeling his insult. You're clearly one, yet act the fool? It still didn't change the fact that they couldn't take on an immortal slayer, at least on the 9-province continent. They had to be utter morons to attack one. One of them spoke gravely, it doesn't matter anyway. Just hand over the immortal land and the sacred immortal sword and we'll leave. Qin Chang'an laughed. You immortals sure know how to bluff. When did I ever say you can go? The immortals' faces sank. One stepped forward, advising, fellow Taoist, spare us and we could become friends in the future. But I don't want you in my future. Fellow Taoist, must you be so ruthless? By killing us, you'll incite the wrath of our immortal lord. Qin Chang'an said, is that a threat? Our immortal lord's power is beyond your imagination, even if you're an immortal slayer. Fellow Taoist, the path to immortality is endless, you can't stay cooped up in the worthless lower realm forever. Qin Chang'an said, you're right about one thing, the path is endless, but I'll just be staying here forever and ever. Your immortal lord is free to come over whenever. The immortals were grave and saw Qin Chang'an's determination. Since negotiations failed, all that was left was shedding blood. Their only hope of surviving was to go all out together against a mighty immortal slayer. Qin Chang'an said, good, you finally came to terms with your mortality. Charge. The 12 immortal lights were blinding as they attacked. Freeze, Qin Chang'an ordered. The mighty charge was ground to a halt as the immortals got stuck, frozen like statues. Their hopes sank into utter despair. Principles. This is the power of principles. Ling Qingshan gasped, Senior is so strong. One word was enough to stop the 12 immortals. Qiu Qintu's group paled in fright, shaking all over. The immortals are done for. Qin Chang'an smiled. Since you're immortals, the least I can do is give you a proper burial. Invincible at the start, Chapter 56, Immortal Lord Shenwu and the Broken All-Seeing Immortal Mirror. The 12 immortals' hearts hammered with despair and terror as their bodies froze. They knew an immortal slayer was strong, but not by this much. One word from him was enough to render them powerless. Such divine and godlike might was a first for them and their last. Kill us, and the immortal lord will get you for this. You can't hide in the lower realm forever. Our immortal lord can kill you still. The immortals could do nothing but bluster and threaten Qin Chang'an with their immortal lord, in the hopes he'd balk. It didn't work. The immortal lord might be the king of immortals for all he cared. He could just come down here to get his ass hooped all the same. In fact, Qin Chang'an would be more than happy to reunite them with their precious lord in the hereafter. Domain points didn't earn themselves now, did they? He grinned. It was cold and terrifying for the immortals. That's enough chatter. Time to send you off. With just a thought, the absolute domain shone brighter, blinding everyone. At death's door, every second and every moment was torture to these immortals. The absolute domain bore down on them with all its might at Qin Chang'an's command, and they could do nothing to stop it. Qin Chang'an blew, and the 12 immortals burst into flames, their wails filled with sorrow and agony. Their shrill screams were soul-rending. Chiu Chintu's group watched the mighty immortals being burned alive, brighter than any torch, and heard their agonizing cries. Their bodies grew translucent, showing their innards, flesh and bones. Then the fires completely engulfed them. Those weren't just flames but immortal fire at the least. Or god flames. The 12 immortals' cruel end of being cooked alive left Chiu Chintu with trauma. We're finished? Ancestor. Chiu Chintu's mind went blank. Ling Qingshan was speechless as well, but it was out of joy and excitement. Senior is incredible. 12 immortals can't even touch him. The 12 immortals died from the flames, marked by the abrupt stop of their cries, their auras gone along with their lives. The sudden loss of immortal pressure left the demons and monsters of myriad mountains stumped as to what happened. Did the immortals leave? They could only guess, with none of them coming close to realizing the reality of the immortals being burned to death and torment. In the upper realm, Black Tortoise Immortal Domain. In a golden and opulent palace, immortal Lord Shen Wu cultivated in golden robes, sucking up the immortal energy around him. His body hummed with immortal power with every breath. He snapped his eyes open, revealing a chilling and sharp gaze, piercing a hole in the veil of reality before him. My 12 immortal generals died in a lower world. He muttered, still in disbelief this happened. My sacred immortal sword fell to a lower world, and the immortals I sent died as well. What on earth happened down there? Shen Wu grimaced, his power turning violent and turbulent, like a raging volcano. In a flash of light, Shen Wu vanished from the palace. Thousands of miles away, he reappeared in a manner. An immortal came out at his arrival, bowing, "How may I be of assistance, immortal lord?" Immortal King Tianyuan, I came to borrow the all-seeing immortal mirror. Immortal King Tianyuan nodded and threw a hand mirror into the air, making it grow to half a mile. What does the immortal lord wish to see? A lower world, 9-province continent. One moment. The all-seeing immortal mirror shone in with an immortal light and the 9-province continent appeared. Immortal King Tianyuan was curious about what got Shen Wu so interested in some no-name lower world. Immortal Lord Shen Wu stared at the lands reflected in the mirror. Immortal King Tianyuan, can the all-seeing immortal mirror sense immortal energy? Tianyuan beamed, there are 12 traces of immortal energy, but the immortals are dead. Their traces aren't long for this world. Where are they? There, immortal lord. The all-seeing immortal mirror's image shifted and showed lofty mountains. The image crested one peak and halted above a huge mountain. Shen Wu and Tianyuan watched Chiu Chintu's group and the 3 people on the soaring immortal mountain. My sacred immortal sword. Shen Wu recognized the sword in Qin Chang'an's hand from anywhere as his voice turned icy. Before Qin Chang'an, 12 fires burned bright. Shen Wu squinted, my 12 immortal generals. Shen Wu and Tianyuan saw Qin Chang'an's icy stare lift up at the sky, right into their eyes. The all-seeing immortal mirror shattered with a loud crack and the image faded. Tianyuan winced. How could the all-seeing immortal mirror just break like this? Invincible at the Start, Chapter 57, From Immortal to Pill and the Shock Chiu Chintu. The all-seeing immortal mirror was a 5th-grade immortal artifact, a famous and incredible immortal treasure in the Black Tortoise Immortal Domain. Now, it was in pieces just because he helped Shen Wu glance at the lower realm. There's actually someone in the lower realm that can defy an immortal's sight, to the point of breaking the all-seeing immortal mirror. Immortal King Tianyuan spoke gravely. Shen Wu huffed, his eyes flashing with murder. He must be an immortal slayer to have that kind of power. After all these years, another one has appeared. Tianyuan gasped, an immortal slayer. He must die. Shen Wu huffed, his bloodlust surging as he left. Immortal Lord, what about my ruined all-seeing immortal mirror? Tianyuan shouted after him, getting only silence as replying. Screw you, rotten and shameless bastard. Do you think being an immortal lord gives you the right to break my stuff? See if I'll help you next time. Tianyuan swore without qualms. He felt his heart bleeding at the broken mirror. My precious all-seeing immortal mirror. On soaring immortal mountain, Qin Chang'an frowned. He thought he felt eyes on him, but only for a moment. Must be feeling things. He turned to the 12 burning flames. Ling Qingshan, Ling Baoer and Chiu Chintu's group focused on them as well. While the immortal pressure was gone, it was unclear if they were alive or dead. The great immortals can't just die, right? Under their hard stares, the flames faded to reveal 12 golden pills. They were shining and covered in immortal script, akin to immortal pills, containing an ocean of immortal power. Qin Chang'an used creation from the absolute domain to turn the 12 immortals into immortal pills. They had to be the best immortal pills the 9-province continent had ever seen. Ling Qingshan gaped at the hovering and dazzling glittering pills. Senior's divine skill turned them into immortal pills. How good are they? Will it make one immortal? He witnessed the incredible effect of a nascent soul demon king turned blood pill, so these 12 immortal pills should have a similar effect, just far stronger. It contains the essence of an immortal. Qin Chang'an waved and the pills fell in his hand. Immortals to pills, how about that for a glorious ending? Anything else and it'd be such a waste. Qiu Qintu's group shuddered from afar. The ancestor is dead. They all ended up as mere immortal pills in Qin Chang'an's hand. The Ghost Skull sect's grand elders were shaking in fear. They followed the ancestor over here to have him flex his power and then destroy the 9-sword sect later. By the looks of it though, not only was the plan bust but now they were lacking proper backing. Holy hell. The 12 immortals couldn't even fight back. How strong is this guy? Go and release the 9-sword sect's grand elders at once. Qiu Qintu lost all intent on fighting Qin Chang'an, fleeing away with his grand elders while the monster was distracted. The 9-sword sect was out of reach as well. With them having someone capable of killing 12 immortals, they could never even approach the 9-sword sect. Master, the Ghost Skull sect is fleeing? Linger drew Qin Chang'an's attention. He wanted to grind the Ghost Skull sect as well, too bad they were out of range. They must be scared out of their mind. Let them go. We'll handle them later. Qin Ling returned the sacred immortal sword to Ling Bao'er. She hugged it with glee. Master, they could never take the sacred immortal sword away. Qin Chang'an smiled. Any that intends to will die. The immortals threatened Master with that immortal lord in their final words. Is an immortal lord great? Ling Bao'er asked. She could tell the immortals revered the immortal lord from their tone. He must be tough, no? But her trust in Qin Chang'an transcended reality, confident her almighty master was worlds above or universes. Qin Chang'an smiled, no matter how great, I'll still slap him in the hereafter. Ling Qingshan's heart quivered. The immortal lord has to be incredibly strong to send 12 immortals here. But Senior still says with utter confidence that he is nothing. It boggled his mind just how strong Senior was. He couldn't find his limit, but his respect and reverence were absolutes. Qin Ling turned to Ling Qingshan, you can go. Your grand elders in the Ghost Skull sect should be released by now. Ling Qingshan nodded, I'm truly grateful for your help, Senior. Go, I'll guide Bao'er to my best ability. Ling Qingshan said, I believe with all my heart that Bao'er is truly fortunate to have Senior's guidance. Qin Chang'an cared not for immortals, even less for a mere sect leader. He only got this treatment due to his daughter. Farewell, Senior. Qin Chang'an nodded. This time he didn't send him off with an immortal pill. These were made of immortals, not like the blood pills formed of nascent soul demon kings. They were on different levels. He would not give them away so easily, even if Ling Qingshan was Bao'er's dad. Qin Chang'an was left alone with Ling Bao'er in the now quiet and peaceful soaring immortal mountain. Due to the earlier immortal pressure, the myriad mountains were for the first time silent as a graveyard, especially after it left. No demon or monster made a peep, still terrorized by the immortal pressure that passed. Invincible at the start, Chapter 58, Terms and Soaring Immortal Mountains Lord. Baiyu and Fox Demon Empress hovered miles above ground, staring in soaring immortal mountains direction. Grandmother, the 12 immortal pressures have vanished. The matron sighed, yeah, as we can't see them in person, that means they must have left the 9-province continent. The immortals of Upper Realm come and go without a trace, truly horrifying. Baiyu muttered. She considered the young master her sister Hongyi served, and the stranger in white to be dead. But for some reason the mysterious guy in the immortal temple surrounded by mist resurfaced in her mind. Something told her he wouldn't just keel over. Baiyu, tell Hongyi and Foxy what happened. I bet they would be glad to be in our clan now. Baiyu hesitated. Grandmother, I want to check on Soaring Immortal Mountain first. The matron smiled, might as well go together. As a place that bore the brunt of immortals' powers, even with them gone, their traces must still be around. Bai nodded at the convenient excuse. Her reason wasn't to feel an immortal's aura and further her cultivation but to ascertain the fate of that youth. She kept it to herself, not wanting grandmother to mock her wild imagination. Bai thought it absurd as well, but seeing was believing. Master, isn't that an immortal pill? Ling Bauer peeked at the 12 golden pills with a curious gaze. They glimmered in a mystical light, drawing her in. Qin Chang'an smiled, made of the finest immortals. If these aren't immortal pills, what are? I guess so. Qin Chang'an held one out. The pill shone in a dazzling light show, brimming with immortal energy. He was curious if it would help his particular case. Bauer, want to try one? Ling Bauer licked her lips. Master, will I become immortal if I do? Qin Chang'an was pensive. It's possible. If Bauer ascends with one of these, then what? He just got a disciple and would rather avoid parting so soon. It's best you don't. The upper realm's immortal lord must be dying to have you ascend to peel your skin, eat your flesh, and drink your blood. Ling Bauer got so scared that all the blood drained from her face, her hands shaking, her eyes dilating, hugging onto Qin Chang'an's hand for dear life. Master, I don't want it. I don't want to ascend. I'll stay with you. Ha, you're such a scaredy cat. Qin Chang'an teased. Linger blushed. I'm not scared. I would rather stay with you. Without me, Master will be all alone again. Ling Bauer mentioned the time before they met. She had given her heart and soul in making an eminent and confident young man out of the wretched beggar she chose for a master. Besides, she had such a nice life by his side. She didn't want to go ahead alone. Then go on and cultivate, Bauer. That immortal lord won't just take killing his immortals and holding the sacred immortal sword kindly. Your cultivation is too low, so I'll set a task for you. What task, Master? You have 1 month to reach nascent soul stage. A month? I can't do it, Master. Ling Bauer was at the 7th layer of the golden core stage. She knew nascent soul was around the corner, but a month was pushing it too much. Qin Chang'an gave a confident smile. Bauer, you're my disciple. If I say you can, then it's a certainty. Her master's trust in her inspired Ling Bauer to be confident as well. Right. I'll work extra hard, Master, and reach nascent soul in a month. Nascent soul was the minimum for her to have some self-defense in the 9-province continent. Bauer was no greenhouse flower. She couldn't stay with him her entire life. She had the talent in this sanctuary to help. Reaching nascent soul in a month was a breeze. Qin Chang'an gathered the 12 immortal pills. What to do with these? Do they only raise cultivation, or is there something else they're capable of? Qin Chang'an excluded Bauer from the testing. He had a much better candidate in mind. Taoba Yi ought to be back soon from Cutlet Mountain. Since he sent Ling Bauer to cultivate in the garden, he was alone in the temple. A wide smile was plastered on his excited face. Reaping the 12 immortals had him hit the motherlode. Since he had time, he was eager to see how many domain points he got. He opened his status and Qin Chang'an found himself sitting on 240,000 domain points. The immortals went for 12,000 domain points per head. That's immortals for you? Qin Chang'an was shocked at the windfall. That meant an increase of 4 kilometers in the absolute domains ranged. System, I have 240,000 domain points. Can I go for another system upgrade? Qin Chang'an asked. V3. 0 took 5,000 domain points. V4. 0 had to be doable with how many points he had on him. While extending the domain's reach was nice and all, getting new traits topped it. Be it V2. 0's creation or V3. 0's immortal solution. Even Mirage and everlasting immortality he got from the deadbeat package, all were novel to him but also extremely useful. This was the reasoning behind his choice, less than 50,000 domain points required for V4. 0 upgrade and a mission. What mission? Be titled Lord of Soaring Immortal Mountain. What does that mean? Qin Chang'an asked. Host will earn this title once the absolute domain's reach extends over the Soaring Immortal Mountain. Qin Chang'an blinked. Come on. You now want me to cover the whole Soaring Immortal Mountain? With how lofty and magnificent Soaring Immortal Mountain was, 240,000 domain points were nowhere near enough to cover even a third. He figured he needed 500,000 more at the least. Qin Chang'an cussed, this rotten hunk of buggy junk. Invincible at the start, Chapter 59, Fox Demon Empress and Apologies. Grandmother, we're near the myriad mountains surroundings. Soaring Immortal Mountain isn't far. Bai and the Heavenly Fox matron flew through the sky. We should feel the traces of the immortals soon. I hope there's a deep imprint, enough for me to glean and help my ascension. Bai nodded, while curious about Chang'an's fate. As they arrived upon Soaring Immortal Mountain, they noticed a few people at its foot. The matron asked, "It's only been moments since the immortals left, but there are already cultivators here. Is it to feel the traces?" They were Qiu Qintu and Ghost Skull Sect's 3 grand elders. All of them flew towards the immortal temple with dread and apprehension. They sensed demonic energy and noticed the two. The 3 grand elders gasped, "Heavenly Fox Clan's demon empress." They knew her. 2,000 years had passed when the grand factions of Ghost Province united to take over the Myriad Mountains. Yet this demon empress had thwarted their conquest all by herself. Her presence made it so no human power could ever take a foothold on Myriad Mountains, leaving it a domain of monsters and demons. The Heavenly Fox Demon Empress was known to all of Ghost Province. The matron sneered, "Myriad Mountains belong to the demons. You have some nerve coming here. Are you seeking death?" Her spirit-severing aura made the 4 wince. Qiu Qintu cupped his hands at once. "Senior Demon Empress, we only came to Soaring Immortal Mountain to apologize to a mighty senior, then we'll leave." The Grand Elders bobbed their heads. "Senior Demon Empress, I ask that you forgive me." The matron was only bluffing, knowing that the 3 nascent souls had to have some backing. She didn't want any trouble as there were other spirit-severing cultivators in Ghost Province. Their words drew her curiosity. "Is it the previous immortals coming to Myriad Mountains that you speak of?" In her mind, only immortals could be called such by these strong cultivators. They came to apologize. Does that mean the immortals are still up there? The matron tensed. Qiu Qintu shook his head. "Senior Demon Empress, the immortals are dead. We didn't come for them." "Come again?" The matron gasped. Even Bai was overwhelmed. "How is that possible?" She didn't believe her ears. Qiu Qintu sighed. "Senior Demon Empress, it's the cruel truth. The 12 immortals are dead, including our Ghost Skull Sect's ancestor. It is beyond anyone's imagination that an immortal slayer lives in the Myriad Mountains." Bai's words flew out of her mouth in haste. "You can't be meaning the senior living in the temple on Soaring Immortal Mountain, could you?" Qiu Qintu nodded. "Yes, him. We came to apologize in the hope that senior would overlook our transgressions and let Ghost Skull Sect stand." The matron frowned. "Just what on earth happened on this mountain for the immortals to die?" They had no power to resist a spirit severing and hastily recalled the event. The matron paled, with Bai shuddering. "Senior is so strong that he can kill immortals." A slash swept immortals, a word froze immortals. He alone killed 12 of them. So this is the young Master Hongyi spoke of. The matron was deathly white. Heavens! Since when did Myriad Mountains hide such a deadly being? It was humbling and even feeling insignificant to find how useless she was as a spirit severing before this mighty persona. "We're finished?" She seized Hongyi and Foxy. It was like asking to be killed. Qiu Qintu watched the matron looking worse and worse and drew his conclusions. Did the demonic empresses rub that senior the wrong way too? The matron took a deep breath, trying and failing to quell the horror and despair. "Bai, what do you think?" She sighed, noticing grandmother's evident fears. "Grandmother, senior gave us 3 days to return Sister Hongyi and Foxy to Soaring Immortal Mountain. I'm sure senior won't blame us." The matron wallowed in regret. "Since we're here, we have to go apologize." "Yes, grandmother." Bai nodded. Qiu Qintu was silent. To not make it even more awkward than it already was, he refrained from talking on their way up. They reached the immortal temple with tense and heavy hearts. Senior's power is beyond measure. Who knows what he's thinking? Will senior forgive us? They passed through Absolute Domain's limit and the vast immortal energy rushed to them. The mysticism and boundless beauty of the place had them gawking. "There's such pure spiritual energy here." The matron gasped. Bai was still amazed, despite it being her second visit. The invading immortal energy activated her demon cultivation method and filled her with power and bliss. This happened to all of them, the demons and humans. Is this the immortal land the immortals spoke of? Being outside when the fighting occurred, they couldn't realize the value of an immortal land just from words alone. Now that they felt it on their skin, they were in awe at such an incredible treasure. Qiu Qintu knew it to be just a sanctuary, leaving him mesmerized by the difference. Qin Chang'an felt their breach the instant they crossed the domain's limit. The Ghost Skull sect actually came. Even Bai Yu is here with a foreign strong demon. With but a thought, he vanished from the temple and towered over the visitors the next second. The matron didn't feel any movement, leaving her in shock. Space principles? Qiu Qintu and his grand elders showed utter fear as they pleaded on their knees. Senior, we ask that you spare Ghost Skull sect. We apologize for all we've done. Invincible at the start, Chapter 60, Settling Debt and Square. Spare you? Qin Chang'an gave the kneeling men a flat look. Qiu Qintu's group was shaking in fear, not even looking him in the eye. They could only wait in terror for his judgment. The demon empress was pale as paper, feeling as weak as a bug before this man who killed 12 immortals. Qin Chang'an gave her the impression he was as vast as the night sky. Bai Yu gave Qin Chang'an a curious look, but she still couldn't see his features. Who is she, Bai Yu? Qin Chang'an asked. She replied with respect. Senior, she is the Heavenly Fox Clan's Demon Empress, our grandmother. We have come to apologize. Demon Empress? Qin Chang'an squinted. Only a spirit severing would call themselves that. This high and mighty person was now here to ask for his forgiveness. The Demon Empress was shaking, pale, and forced a smile as she bowed. Greetings, Senior. Where are Hong Yi and Foxy? Qin Chang'an demanded. His flat tone was filled with bloodlust. Fox Demon Empress' heart sank. Senior, I was rash and a fool to take your people. I ask that you spare my life. I'll go right now to bring them to you. Qiu Qintu saw the Demon Empress quacking in her boots, and that only made his fear mount. Bai Yu sighed. It should have been obvious from the start. With Foxy's talent, the Senior raising her could only be just as incredible. They all knew Senior was strong, but none could fathom his depths. At the very least, immortals are nothing to Senior. Bai Yu stood by Fox Demon Empress' side and asked for forgiveness. She was at peace by contrast, calm and collected. Like the calm one had before death. She would accept whatever he decided. This got Qin Chang'an more interested in her. Bai Yu, what should I do with you? Senior, on my way to Soaring Immortal Mountain I met a mortal that spoke of settling the cycle of karma, bringing it to a close. Qin Chang'an chuckled, not expecting a demon king to quote his avatar. And? Sister Hong Yi brought Foxy to the Heavenly Fox clan for a demon cultivation method. This is what tied us together with Senior, but the Heavenly Fox clan seized Foxy for her talent, reaping bad karma. Senior may even kill us if you so wished. It is what my clan deserves. Demonic Empress was filled with guilt and remorse. It was all her fault disaster struck her clan, due to her greed in taking Foxy for her own needs. Senior, I'm responsible for everything. Take my life. I only ask Senior to spare the others. Fox Demon Empress kneeled as she begged. Bai Yu kneeled next to her. I as well, Senior. Please take my life and spare the others. Bai Yu, you're not to blame. Fox Demon Empress winced. Grandmother, it's my decision. Then I shall oblige in sending you off. Qin Chang'an lifted his hand, his gaze flat. Endless power surged, sending everyone here into a world of terror, beyond anything they could ever hope to withstand. For the first time, Fox Demon Empress felt just how futile and weak she was in her long life. She knew the Senior could kill them and needed but a finger to do it. Senior is unstoppable and frightening like the king of hell. The more pressure she felt, the greater her guilt and remorse. She could only hope her death was enough to spare her clan of the same fate. As she waited for the Reaper to cut her life string, she found the endless power vanish into thin air. Senior, Bai Yu and Demon Empress started at his action. For you to wish for death means you regret your actions. Your lives are spared. They were ready to lay down their lives for their mistakes, but having been absolved, they rejoiced just like anyone would. Thank you so much, Senior. Qin Chang'an huffed. Fox Demon Empress, you have to thank Bai Yu for breathing still. There won't be a next time, not for you, not for your clan. Fox Demon Empress bobbed her head. They witnessed Qin Chang'an's awesome power and would never offend him in her life. Bai Yu looked stunned. She only met him once before, so why did he do it out of her consideration? It must be that Senior is doing it for Sister Hong Yi? It had nothing to do with Hong Yi at all though. Bai Yu saved his avatar once, and even though it was going to die, a life was still a life. Qin Chang'an wanted to return the favor, so she spared them. With Hong Yi and Foxy returning, debts were settled and they were square. The next time they messed with him, he would have no qualms finishing them off. Done with the Heavenly Fox clan, Qin Chang'an turned to Qiu Qiantu. He and the elders were in reverence, but they rejoiced. Senior forgave the foxes, so he should let us go as well, right? Thank you so much, Senior. Qin Chang'an sneered. He raised a hand and the four wailed, turning into 4 blood pills. Fox Demon Empress shivered. What terrible skill, turning 3 nascent souls into blood pills with a raise of the hand. Is it the power of law? Getting over 1,000 domain points and 4 blood pills as freebies put Qin Chang'an in a good mood. He flicked 2 away. Fox Demon Empress caught hers and felt the pure energy within, that of a nascent soul. The blood pill is incredible. Senior, what? Invincible at the start, Chapter 61, Disaster and Fortune Entwined. Qin Chang'an said, this blood pill will work even in the spirit-severing stage such as yourself. Taking a nascent soul demon king as an example, they would break through with ease. As a request of Hong Yi to take Foxy to your Heavenly Fox clan for your demon cultivation method, it's only right that I offer gifts in the form of these 2 blood pills. Fox Demon Empress was touched to the core. Senior, we could never accept such precious gifts. The Heavenly Fox clan is honored enough just for being worthy of imparting our cultivation method to Foxy. The Heavenly Fox clan is at your service, Senior. Qin Chang'an gave them a look and walked away. Mist roiled around them from every corner, swirling for a moment before scattering. Fox Demon Empress and Baiyu found themselves 1,000 meters outside the Immortal Temple. Senior has such incredible skills. The 2 gasped. The Fox Demon Empress was at spirit severing yet had never even felt any sign he had done anything. She stared at the blood pills in her hand with a complex gaze. She sighed in awe. It explains why Hong Yi appeared with increased cultivation. It's all due to this pill. She had met with such fortune. Baiyu nodded. Senior is incredible, grandmother. Is he the immortal slayer of legends? Fox Demon Empress sighed. How else could Senior kill immortals? But to think an immortal slayer would be in the myriad mountains of all places. It is not just Hong Yi's fortune but all our blessing. As the dusk's orange sun cast its weary glow on the land, Taoba Yi rushed to soaring Immortal Mountain in anxiety. He shouted upon seeing the Immortal Temple. Young Master, young Miss Bauer, the Immortals have come. Are you all right? Taoba Yi was out plucking chickens from Cutlet Mountain when the Immortals deigned myriad mountains with their presence. The pressure, the soul-gripping fear of the Immortals' power, left Taoba Yi frozen in his hunt for chickens. He knew why they came, for the young Miss Sacred Immortal Sword. The event left its mark on him, for he felt powerless to help, reduced to a shaking mess under their pressure. There was nothing he could do to stop the mighty and great Immortals. He could only pray that young Miss and young Master escaped. With their pressure alone filling me in the myriad mountains with dread, I can only imagine how strong they must be, how easy it is for them to kill me. He was aware the odds of the young Master surviving were slim at best, his heart heavy and anxious as he rushed into the Immortal Temple. There, he stumbled upon Ling Bauer cultivating and Qin Chang'an sitting at the stone table under the rustling leaves of the sacred fig, playing Go. Qin Chang'an sat upright as he placed a black piece. Across from him, a shy branch dipped down in the whites to place 1 piece on the board. Qin Chang'an smirked, replying with an immediate move. Looking at the match, there were 5 blacks in a row. You lost, fig. The blooming and huge sacred fig spoke in reverence. I have once again lost before your eminence, young master. Qin Chang'an smiled. There's a saying, a sacred fig's enlightenment brings infinite wisdom, a tree of great virtue. I have awakened you as a demon, but you don't look the part. This is your 5th loss. I could never attain young master's level. May I ask, young master, what is this 5-piece formation? Qin Chang'an replied with apparent infinite wisdom. Seek weakness. Listen well, fig, in the art of war, one needs to seek the enemy's weakness and avoid their strengths. The same principle lies in these 5 pieces. This move shows its value when attacking, striking where the enemy is weak so you can crush the opposition in 1 move. It's unavoidable and unblockable. Sacred fig's leaves rustled as he listened to Qin Chang'an's lecture, immortal energy flowing into them, into his every fiber. Absolute Domain System V3. Zero's immortal solution at work. Qin Chang'an's every word and action contained the power of immortality. As the sacred fig was a tree of wisdom and virtue, Qin Chang'an awakened it into a demon. Under the constant influence of Qin Chang'an's immortal solution, It had a high chance of evolving into an immortal tree. Art of Wars Seek Weakness, Fig muttered, absorbing the immortal solution's deeper meaning. All of Fig's flowers shone with an immortal glow. Qin Chang'an was silent. I just said something casual, and the sacred fig sank into enlightenment. He noticed the immortal energy within the sacred figure. Don't tell me he's turning immortal. Taoba Yi landed in the immortal temple with joy and excitement. Young master. Qin Chang'an smiled. Taoba Yi, did you bring Draconic Fowl King? Taoba Yi fell to his knees in guilt. Young master sent me to catch Draconic Fowl King, but I was worried something might have happened to you. I shall accept any punishment for coming back empty-handed. Qin Chang'an waved him off. Rise, it's not your fault. He knew fear overwhelmed Taoba Yi and was also aware of an immortal strength. You're back just in time. I have something for you. Qin Chang'an said and offered an immortal pill. Taoba Yi shuddered at the golden pill. Its engravings shone brightly, releasing an immortal and unfathomable glow. Young master, Taoba Yi ventured. An immortal pill refined from an immortal. I've yet to know the effect it might have on me. Will you be willing to try it? Qin Chang'an asked. Taoba Yi went bug-eyed. An immortal pill. Young master is so amazing he can cull immortals and turn them into pills. Taoba Yi shuddered, words leaving him. Qin Chang'an smiled. Taoba Yi, disaster is entwined with fortune. I leave the choice of eating an immortal pill to you. Taoba Yi snapped awake. He bobbed his head, filled with respect. Young master, I wish to try the immortal pill. He had to know how much he'd get. Just a blood pill allowed him to break through to the next minor realm. How much will an immortal pill change me? He believed it to be young master bestowing upon him a chance at immortality. He would seize it. He was fine with dying from it if it came to that. Qin Chang'an nodded. Good. He threw it at him. Taoba Yi looked at the immortal pill in his shaking hand, barely able to speak. Young master, when should I eat it? Now. Show me what changes it will bring. As you command. Taoba Yi nodded and sat down, swallowing the immortal pill on the spot. Invincible at the start, Chapter 62, Phoenix Nirvana and Rise from the Ashes. The world shifted and a sudden gale blew. Taoba Yi sat cross-legged in an immortal land, a paradise, giving off an ungodly glow. Qin Chang'an and Ling Baoer watched. The girl looked worried. Master, will Brother Ox be alright taking the immortal pill? Qin Chang'an shook his head. His fate is his own. It was anyone's guess what an immortal pill could do, even his, as he watched Taoba Yi's body changing under its influence. The pill filled him with endless immortal energy and covered him in immortal markings. As an added effect, he was becoming a bottomless hole, sucking up the immortal land's immortal energy. The constant devouring of energy hummed within Taoba Yi, his power building every second. Thunder rumbled high above. Each thunder strike held a devastating power, apocalyptic even. All around soaring immortal mountain was turned into a living hell. Only the part covered with the absolute domain was spared of this endless conflagration. Taking an immortal pill drew such a powerful tribulation that would have erased Taoba Yi's body and soul if not for the absolute domain shielding him. This pill is something all right. Ling Baoer jumped at every lightning strike. Her hair fluttered in the violent winds. Roar. Taoba Yi howled at the heavens, sucking up more of the immortal energy around him. His power surged like an unstoppable tide, rumbling with every increase. The immortal markings burned, combining with his body, as an immortal pressure washed the world with Taoba Yi at its center. Did Taoba Yi become immortal? Qin Chang'an gasped. Brother Ox is an immortal? Ling Baoer's eye shone. Ka. The sound was that of a flawless china being smashed to bits. Qin Chang'an had a sinking feeling. Snap. The sounds came unabated from Taoba Yi. His body ruptured, unable to withstand the pill's energy. The immortal markings, containing an immortal's incredible power of law, were under heavy strain. Ah! Taoba Yi wailed, his life ebbing under the sea of immortal energy, burning his very soul. Master Brother Ox, Ling Baoer paled. Qin Chang'an flashed before Taoba Yi. Why young master, I have failed you. Blood spilled from his pores and face on the brink of death. He felt utter regret for wasting the young master's immortal pills. It's because I'm worthless. No, you've done more than enough. Qin Chang'an muttered. Immortals and mortals are too different. I was too hopeful thinking a mere immortal pill would be able to bridge the gap. Taoba Yi wheezed, Young master, I'm ready to die for all you did for me. Qin Chang'an chuckled. Disaster and fortune are entwined. It's too early to call it quits now. Immortal fire scorched his body, his bones, his mind, and even his soul. But there was one other fire burning hotter in his heart at Qin Chang'an's word, that of living. I'm not dead yet, young master. I can't give up. I can't disappoint you. Taobaye's eyes shone, his horns turning sharper like blades. His body was restored. A huge ox stood tall, its black mane covered in immortal fire as it towered half a kilometer from the ground. He was not going to die like this, he would not let a mere immortal pill do him in. Taobaye leaned on his endurance and tenacity as an ox, to fight for his life. Qin Chang'an thought, a phoenix rises from the ashes to reach nirvana, so why can't he be reborn as well? Qin Chang'an's eyes shone. Taobaye? Qin Chang'an shouted, his voice thundering through Taobaye's mind, drawing his attention. The worried Ling Baoer shielded her ears, her mind swimming as she staggered. I shall impart to you the obscure nirvana art. Use it and seize your fate. Obscure nirvana was a Buddha script he browsed back on earth that spoke of a phoenix's rise from the ashes towards nirvana. It came to him now of all times, every word clear as day. Qin Chang'an used immortal solution as well to send his words with the most effect. He didn't know what would come of it, but he was willing to help Taobaye. Invincible at the start, Chapter 63. Taobaye, you're made for Dharma? Taobaye was in veneration. Ling Baoer and Fig sharpened their ears. They were curious to find what mystical secret was hid, which could wrest Taobaye from death's door and bring him back into this world as an immortal. Qin Chang'an was grave, his voice clear. The enlightened me can create any and everything. Ancient and modern are connected, always connected from beginning to end, there is nothing separate from it. In the vast equanimity, it is called nirvana. Do not stray from the scripture and attain nirvana. Taobaye and Ling Baoer's widened. Fig's leaves rustled at the mysticism hidden in Qin Chang'an's abstruse lecture. Even the world began to shift. With Qin Chang'an at the center, an incredible power washed in all directions. Purple glows flashed in the east. The stars shone in the sky, showering the world in their majestic glow and enveloping Qin Chang'an. He was like a god walking on this earth. The whole of 9-province continent witnessed this incredible change, gawking with wide eyes in shock. An immortal phenomenon. Who triggered it? Is someone ascending? The entire continent was overwhelmed by the revelation. The strongest on the 9-province continent, the empty immortals, the closest to ascend, knew what this meant the most. There had yet to be an ascension in ages. Now, one was doing on this very day, overcoming the world principles and becoming immortal. The whole 9-province continent was aboil. The experts, demons, monsters, and spirits felt their souls shudder, their eyes fixed on Ghost Province. It's coming from Ghost Province. Is it from the ancient Phoenix sect? It has to be. I heard they had the insight to become immortal 1,000 years ago, needing but shed their mortal coil to ascend. Thunder Immortal Shrine on Sumeru Immortal Domain, Upper Realm. Wrapped in a holy aura, thousands of miles large Buddha image sat cross-legged. 9,999 immortals sat. Arhats, Buddhists, monks and bodhisattvas, all congregated around the holy image. The enlightened me can create any and everything, rise from the ashes towards nirvana. The ancient chanting hummed around them from worlds beyond, Qin Chang'an's voice. The monks shuddered. Dharma. Among the endless immortal domains, a Buddha is born. The birth of a Buddha. Only he can take the Sumeru immortal domain to the top. No matter the price, find Buddha. On the soaring immortal mountain, Qin Chang'an was unaware of what he set in motion with just one classic line from his previous life. Golden lotuses bloomed beneath his feet while a holy immortal aura shone like the sun, making him look like a saint. All principles are boundless, as is enlightenment. To comprehend the path of nirvana, one must find it within the profound realization. Therefore, the phoenix undergoes nirvana, being reborn through fire. Qin Chang'an spoke at length, finally ending the lecture on the obscurity of nirvana. Ling Baoer, the sacred fig, and the burning Taobaye in immortal fire. They ruminated over the obscure nirvana, wanting to grasp its mysteries. Buddhism was also known as karma. As the saying goes, benefactor has karma with this Buddhist. It comes down to whether Taobaye and the nirvana aura are tied by karma, by fate. This is the most I can do to help. Taobaye, A phoenix rises from the ashes toward nirvana. You may not be a phoenix, nor its descendant, but I believe in your success. Young master, I shall not disappoint. Tauba Ye's demon body was cooked under the flames, down to the innards, bones, and meridians. Every fiber felt like it would be turned to ashes, even his soul. His mind recalled every word about nirvana. He focused, the pain the fire brought him no longer chaining him. His fur turned to ashes, followed by his blood, innards, and bones. He was no more but dust. Nonetheless, neither the pain nor the loss of life disturbed his tranquility. Ling Baoer said, "Master, is Brother Ox going to die?" Qin Chang'an only stared. At last, the only mark that the demon Tauba Yi ever existed was the remaining black horns. His aura was gone, the fire scattered. Ling Baoer was pale, staring at the horns. Qin Chang'an noticed no energy from them or Tauba Ye's aura. Tauba Yi, Buddhism wasn't your fate. He sighed. His first subject met his end on the path to immortality. Qin Chang'an's eyes flashed, and he noticed a sliver of life thrumming from the horns. Is he still alive? Qin Chang'an focused on the minute signature, on the brink of fading. Allow me to lend you a hand. Qin Chang'an's eyes flashed and used creation. Immense vitality flooded the horns, giving off a blinding glow as they melded. Ling Baoer teared up from the pain and closed her eyes, but then she forced herself to watch. The horns took the shape of a tough body. Master, is that Brother Ox? Qin Chang'an smiled. I was wrong, Tauba Yi. You're made for Dharma. Invincible at the start, Chapter 64, Golden Immortal and Frigid Bone Claw. Tauba Yi walked out of the blinding immortal light. His body shone, no longer having the aura of a demon. He had majestic horns and a sturdy body of Herculean strength. There was no comparison with his previous self. Young master, I was fortunate not to fail you. Tauba Yi fell to his knees and cupped his hands. Ling Baoer blinked. Brother Ox, I feel you've changed and didn't at the same time. Qin Ling chuckled and rubbed her head. Baoer looked closer. Oh. She gave him a thorough inspection and gasped. Master, that's an immortal aura. It was the same aura as the one the 12 immortal generals used. Tauba Ye's voice thrummed with power. Young master, I've not ascended, but the immortal energy and markings have melded with my being, and in the immortal flames, I was reborn from the ashes with an immortal body. Ling Baoer gasped. Sounds amazing. Figured as much. Qin Chang'an expected it. Tauba Yi, how strong are you now? Tauba Yi shook his head. Young master, the energy in me has been transformed into immortal energy, along with my body. I am unclear as to its full effect. I see. Qin Chang'an was pensive. Tauba Yi, I command you to pay the Heavenly Fox clan a visit, to bring back Hong Yi and Foxy. While you're there, have a spar with Fox Demon Empress. I obey. What do you think your chances are against the Demon Empress? Qin Chang'an chuckled. Young master, I'm certain of victory. With my new immortal body and immortal energies, I have what it takes to fight her. Good, now go. Understood. Tauba Yi turned into a light and shot into the air like a dazzling shooting star streaking the night sky. Haha, a golden immortal, quite possibly the only one in this world. Qin Chang'an chuckled. Ling Baoer said, Master, is Brother Ox an immortal now? Yes and no. Master, I don't get what you're saying. Looking at Tauba Ye's body and strength, then yes, he can be called an immortal. The only thing stopping him from becoming a real immortal is his nascent soul. He's an unprecedented gold immortal. Ling Baoer exclaimed. Every step was a grueling task on the path of immortality. Starting with qi refining, one defied the heavens until the empty immortal stage, becoming half immortal. But only through providence one would gain the chance to ascend. Few were those at the peak of the empty immortal stage. This made Tauba Yi a unique golden immortal, but ascending was still a toil even for him. He almost lost his life just to turn his body immortal. His fortune was great, having rebirthed from the ashes, but the same couldn't apply to everyone else. Qin Chang'an had 11 immortal pills left, intending not to use them for now. The others couldn't take the insane amount of energy it contained. Caving under pressure meant one thing only, demise. Qin Chang'an rejoiced, letting Tauba Yi test them out before giving one to Ling Baoer. She would have most likely gone to heaven. Master, nirvana sounds so profound. I tried to understand it, but it was so hard. Qin Chang'an chuckled. This just shows you're not meant to practice Dharma and become a nun. Ling Bao shook her head. Why would I become one? Master, after all this time, you've yet to teach me anything. Qin Chang'an's smile froze. He yawned. Bao, I'll be off resting. It's been a long day. Ling Bao's mouth twitched, pulling on his sleeve and angling her head to emphasize her puppy eyes. Master, you taught even Brother Ox something. I'm your only precious disciple. Don't you like me? Don't you want me anymore? Ling Bao looked so pitiful, her eyes red with slumped shoulders. Qin Chang'an was certain that she'd burst into tears by saying no. He sighed. I brought this on myself. His plan was to take her in and use her, not teach her anything. Now karma came back to bite him. The only relief was the trusty immortal solution of his. Maybe it could teach her some nifty trick. Qin Chang'an rubbed her cute head. How could you ever think that? Let me think it over and tomorrow I'll teach you. Really, master? Ling Bao lit up, stars sparkling in her innocent eyes. Really, really? Qin Chang'an smiled. Thank you, master. Ling Bao hugged him tight. Moments like these made him feel that he didn't take in a disciple, but a daughter. It wasn't bad either way, honestly. I need to figure out what on earth to teach her. Dongfang Bubi trained in Sunflower Manual to become undefeated. No, Dongfang had to turn eunuch to train in that. I can't have Bao become an empty shell with no emotions. Qin Chang'an shook his head. What else is there? He was going through the arts and web novels and movies he read and watched back on Earth, wondering if the immortal solution would work on them. Whatcha thinking, master? Ling Bao asked, seeing him lost in thought. What to teach you? Ling Bao tilted her head. Master, are there so many options? I've wandered the immortal domains for eons on end, amassing endless scriptures and manuals. The Sunflower Manual, Divine Sword of the Six Meridians, Yang Finger, 18 Dragon Palms, Left/right Technique, 9 White Bone Claw. Master, what's that bone claw thingy? Ling Bao interrupted. Qin Chang'an winced, the 9 White Bone Claw being a vicious and ruthless art. Does that mean she wants to learn it since she asked? Invincible at the Start, Chapter 65, Immortal Realms and Finding an Immortal Tree. Bao, you want to learn it? Qin Chang'an corked his mouth. Ling Bao blinked. Master, 9 White Bone Claw sounds mighty. I do. The 9 White Bone Claw, a part of the 9 Manual, is a cultivation method I have grasped from scouring the internet for years and years. But this skill, along with the bone-crushing fingers, is too cruel and won't fit you. Qin Chang'an chuckled. He was curious about what would become of all the martial arts from Earth if he unleashed them upon this world with the immortal solution, though he would never go as far as teaching some dark and savage arts to his prized disciple. Never, ever am I going to let Bao do something like pull heads off enemies' shoulders with the 9 White Bone Claw. That's just too bloody. It's not proper for a lady. Yes, master, I'll listen to you. Ling Bao bobbed her head like a good child. Rest. Let me sleep it over and I'll teach you tomorrow. In the Black Tortoise Immortal Domain, there was a crowded and lively city of immortals, Elysian Metropolis. It was opulence taken to the extreme with towering buildings and spotless streets. An immortal festivity was being held in one particular place. Immortal lords and immortal kings from high and low of the Black Tortoise Immortal Domain came to join the social event. Immortal Lord Shenwu was the only one with a dark look on his face, drinking alone in a corner. Not only did he lose his vital immortal treasure, but his 12 immortal generals in the lower realm. What was worse, he could do nothing to vent the frustration and rage such loss brought. Immortal slayers were only a pain in the lower realm. If they were brought up here, he could squash the bloody bastards like an overripe tomato. They had the protection of the lower realm's principles, turning any immortals sent after him into pointless casualties. The immortals in the upper realm were divided into 3 stages: man, earth, and heaven. They were known as the human immortal stage, earth immortal stage, and celestial immortal stage. These 3 were also split into 3. For the human immortal stage they were immortal soldier, immortal general, and immortal warrior. For earth immortal stage they were immortal general, immortal king, and immortal lord. For the celestial immortal stage they were immortal emperor, immortal sovereign, and immortal domain lord. Immortal slayers were not part of this census, for they could never ascend, nor could they receive an upper realm's Tao immortal path blessing. The immortal slayers dominated immortals in the lower realm, but they could never surpass the human immortal stage. For argument's sake, once placed in the upper realm, they would be around an immortal general's level, immortal warrior tops. But down there they had the lower realms principles backing them up by suppressing the upper realms immortals' power all the way down to the peak of the empty immortal stage. This was the reason behind the immortal slayer being the bane of any immortals that descended. The legends were not exaggerated. What made it worse was, immortal domains banned anyone above the human immortal stage from descending some eons ago. It left immortal Lord Shen Wu furious and helpless, for even immortal warriors would just die down there against an immortal slayer. He had no goddamned idea how to settle this mess. As one can imagine, it bore heavy on his mind, the increased setbacks souring his mood to say the least. Brother Shen Wu, what are you doing drinking here all alone? Did something happen? Immortal Lord Shen Wu looked over to find his good friend, Immortal Lord Leng Ming. Shen Wu was silent. Leng Ming sat next to him, finishing his drink of immortal wine, smiling. Come on, Brother Shen Wu, it's been 3,000 years since we've become sworn brothers. Anything that's bothering you, you can just tell me, and I'll be sure to help you in any way I can. It's nothing. Shen Wu shook his head. Leng Ming laughed. Nothing? Then you wouldn't mind talking it over with me, right? Immortal Lord Shen Wu saw it as a personal affront, a disgrace as to what happened, but the two were sworn brothers and started talking in the end. Leng Ming gasped, there's such a savage in the lower realm? He's nothing but a bug to me, a bug that I can't touch in the lower realm. He's an insult to my name. Shen Wu mocked. Leng Ming chuckled, putting his hand over Shen Wu's shoulders. Brother, this guy has an overinflated ego, taking your vital immortal treasure and even having the nerve to kill your subjects. I'll help you get rid of him. You? Shen Wu widened. Leng Ming preened. It just so happens that I got an immortal slayer working for me. He'll be perfect for the job. Shen Wu blinked. I didn't know Brother Leng Ming had someone like that under you. Leave this to me, brother. By this time in 3 days, you'll have the fool's head on a silver platter. Shen Wu smiled, thank you, Brother Leng Ming. Leng Ming laughed. We're brothers, so don't sweat the small stuff. Come on, it's been ages since we last saw each other. Let's drink. A sudden clamor swept the party. The immortals paused and silence ensued. Their gazes were fixed on an immortal walking in. The woman had sharp eyes, bearing elegant curves emphasized in her dignified gait. She drew the eyes of every immortal, including the two sworn brothers. Her flawless skin and the perfect white attire, all completed the image of a pure angel, like a dream come true. Immortal Lord Leng Ming sipped his wine, the eyes above the rim of the cup burning hot. The wisdom of the world transcending the mortal coil and the purity of her body make her perfect. I'm so fortunate to meet the most beautiful immortal in the Black Tortoise immortal domain at this gathering. Immortal Lord Shen Wu muttered, his eyes never leaving her, Jiang Xian Jiang Yuchan, wildly known as Fairy Yuchan. She is as flawless as the rumors paint her. Jiang Yuchan intoxicated the immortals with her scent as he passed them. She was perfect, delicate, and poised as she made her way to a corner. All stared curious as to who she was looking for. Immortal King Tian Yuan fell to her charms like many others there, drunk on her beauty. He only noticed she was here for him when she was standing before him. His heart jumped with hope and glee. Did she come for me? Immortal King Tian Yuan scratched his face. Am I that handsome? Fairy Yuchan's soft and soothing voice hummed in his ears, Are you Immortal King Tian Yuan? It's not a dream. Fairy Yuchan came to see me. Yes, it is I. How may I help you, Fairy Yuchan? Immortal King Tian Yuan beamed, speaking with the top beauty of the realm did wonders for his ego. They say you have the all-seeing immortal mirror, capable of piercing all veils. Immortal Lord Tian Yuan's mouth twitched, his good mood slumping as he cursed Shen Wu in his mind. Helping that damn fool find some nobody in the lower realm ruined it without even paying me back for the damages. I had to fork out a fortune of immortal stones to patch it up. Knowing her purpose, Tian Yuan nodded, Yes, Fairy Yuchan, I do have it. Why would you need it? To find an immortal tree. Invincible at the Start, Chapter 66, Ultimate Skill Imparting in Dugu 9 Sorts. As the morning sun peeked over the mountain, fig bloomed, and the everlasting immortal tree's unripe fruits flickered with an immortal glow. The garden was filled with the soothing fragrance of flowers and nature. The immortal energy in this land was beyond anything any other place on the 9-province continent could offer. It was truly heaven on earth. Ling Baoer looked at the immortal fruits from beneath the shade of the everlasting immortal tree, drool leaking from her mouth. Master, how much longer until the everlasting immortal fruit is ready? Chen Chang'an yawned, having just woken up with bags under his eyes. He had gone above and beyond the call of duty when it came to choosing the perfect martial art for Baoer, i.e. staying up later than usual. The sacrifice was not in vain, for he found a super grand sword art for her alone. Guess it paid to be a NET in his first life, having a healthy interest in China's culture, especially the most popular Wuxia works. Obscure Nirvana he used to save Taoba Yi with was merely browsed at one point when he was bored and just looked around the internet. Coming over to this world, the memories long forgotten had come back clearer than ever. It came as a total surprise how the obscure Nirvana helped with the added effect of Immortal Solution. So, Qin Chang'an believed beyond a shadow of a doubt the ultimate sword art would benefit Baoer for sure. The only unknown in this was if the skill was great on the 9-province continent as well. Yawning, Qin Chang'an walked out of the temple, only to lay back on his chair in the garden. Baoer, stop staring at the everlasting immortal fruits. They need a couple more days to be ready. Ling Baoer gave a sweet smile as she skipped over. Master, let me massage away the weariness of last night's hard work. Her soft hands were placed on Qin Chang'an's shoulder, and he began to relax. Not bad. Qin Chang'an smiled. Baoer, after careful consideration this last night, I have for you an ultimate sword art. I'm just uncertain how it will fare after learning it. Master, what sword skill is it? Ling Baoer's eyes shone with eagerness. Qin Chang'an turned grave and stood up from his chair. The ultimate and unrivaled sword art, Dugu 9 Swords. I see that you cherish the sword and shall impart this supreme skill. Dugu 9 Swords? Ling Baoer blinked her big eyes. Qin Chang'an stood tall, hands behind his back, with the dawn's rays shining over his figure, emphasizing his aloof and proud nature. Dugu 9 Swords created by the sword demon Dugu Chobai. He culled all his demons and crushed heroes, nigh unstoppable even among immortals. Which is why I shall impart to you this ultimate sword art. Ling Baoer was in awe. Master, I shall give my all to learn this sword art. I won't fail you. Then hear me well. The Dugu 9 Swords emphasizes the heart. Never forget it. Guimei tends toward Wuwang, Wuwang tends toward Tongren, Tongren tends toward Diu, Jia turns into Bing, Bing turns into Gung, Gung turns into Kuei. Z connects Cho, Qin connects Si, Wu connects Wei. Wind to thunder is one change. Qin Chang'an lectured. Once the core of the sword art was passed on, the soaring immortal mountain looked bleak. The sacred immortal sword from Ling Baoer's storage ring shot out and shone brightly like the sun. Ling Baoer shuddered as she looked at the changes around. Master is only imparting a sword art yet caused such a monumental change. Qin Chang'an squinted, focusing on the world's changes, but he didn't stop talking. He followed with the Dugu 9 sword moves. Thanks to the immortal solution, endless sword light flowed, shifting into the form of a person. The figure held the sacred immortal sword and executed Dugu 9 Swords' every move. Dugu 9 Swords was mystical and abstruse, engrossing Ling Baoer in its forms. Qin Chang'an finished speaking and sighed. I've passed on Earth's Dugu 9 Swords through the immortal solution. Now it's up to Baoer to grasp as much of it as she can. It rests entirely on her if she can train the Dugu 9 Swords. Qin Ling let Ling Baoer learn and he returned to his chair to observe. The Dugu 9 Swords image faded away in the end, having gone through its every form. Baoer, how was it? Invincible at the start, Chapter 67, Envious Hong Yi and Taoba Ye's half-immortal energy. Jing Baoer came out of her stupor and cocked her cute head with a red face. Master, Dugu 9 Swords is too mystical. In all my life learning sword arts at the 9 Sword sect, I've never seen anything like this ultimate sword art. I only managed to remember Master's words. Qin Chang'an smiled. It's fine for you have the best talent. Learning Dugu 9 Swords isn't hard, but to train this art, one needs to understand it, not cram it in. Baoer paused. But Master, its power is so fearsome from the many variations and killing moves. Doesn't it have any defensive forms as well? Qin Chang'an smiled, recalling the novel in his first life, of how Ling Huchong had the same reaction when Feng Qingyang taught Dugu 9 Swords. Ling Baoer didn't put him on the spot with this question. Qin Chang'an said. Baoer, Dugu 9 Swords, once stepping in never steps back. Every technique is an attacking technique. When you force your enemy to have no choice but to defend himself, there's no need to defend yourself. With your perception, you're sure to see reason in this. What you need to do right now is learn the art sword intent. Ling Baoer nodded. Master, I will work very hard to grasp it. Go on, train. Qin Chang'an eased a breath. He managed to get out of teaching her without a blunder. He didn't much care what level she trained Dugu Nine Swords Inch. In the following days, Qin Chang'an enjoyed peace and quiet. Ling Baoer was focused on her training in the new art, grasping the art's core. She could feel her sword skills improving by the day. As for the sword moves she used, they proved taxing on her spiritual energy despite how much she already had. The more exhausted she became from the drain of spiritual energy, the more excited she got. It shocked her to the core how fearsome the ultimate sword art was. Once she grasped it to completion, what kind of might could she unleash? How far would her sword skills grow? She was so engrossed in training she never pestered Qin Chang'an, who lazed around, sometimes playing Go with Fig or teaching it about Gog. What got him sour was every time he taught Fig, it ended up with him losing more than he won. It went to the point where winning against Fig became a challenge. The sacred Fig is the embodiment of wisdom in the truest sense. Qin Chang'an teased Fig before, but now he felt his IQ got crushed. In consequence, he played lesser and lesser, until he found another hobby. Seeing Baoer train in the sword, he got pumped up as well. He resumed practicing Taiji, nourishing sword from his past life. He felt his body would wear out if he didn't train a bit. I'm getting old and need to get in shape. Taoba Yi brought Hong Yi and Foxy 3 days later. Yay. Foxy jumped about. Her demoni's energy had multiplied in just a few days, though she still had trouble speaking real words. Qin Chang'an chuckled. Foxy, why are you so tiny? You haven't grown a bit. Yee. Greetings, young master. I have failed you for not realizing what will happen in the Heavenly Fox clan, and I await your punishment. Hong Yi said, filled with respect towards him. She hadn't been around him for a while, but Taoba Yi told her all she needed to know what transpired on Soaring Immortal Mountain. Killing 12 immortals and turning Taoba Yi into an immortal. He was reborn in body and soul. He even challenged the grandmother, the Fox Demon Empress. To her shock, her grandmother lost. She couldn't even begin to imagine how strong he became. It felt unreal how he became immortal in just a couple of days, generating no small amount of envy. Would she have become immortal if she had stayed by young master's side? Hong Yi was wise to keep those words to herself. She knew from Taoba Yi how challenging it was to become immortal. He almost died but was fortunate to experience nirvana and rise from the ashes. Just hearing Taoba Yi recount his experience along the way sent a shiver down Hong Yi's spine of how dangerous it was. Hong Yi was quick to show remorse, but Qin Chang'an didn't punish her. He bestowed a blood pill instead. It's not your fault. Have this blood pill for your troubles. Hong Yi was touched. Thanks, young master. Did the Heavenly Fox clan impart its cultivation method to Foxy? Qin Chang'an asked. Hong Yi nodded. Young master, Foxy has learned our cultivation method, and with her amazing talent, she reached the 5th layer of Qi refining stage already. Foundation establishment is just around the corner. Well done. Qin Chang'an asked Taoba Yi the situation, mostly about his battle with the Fox Demon Empress. Young master, the Fox Demon Empress isn't my match. Since even a spirit-severing expert can't take you on, how strong are you really, Taoba Yi? Taoba Yi shook his head. I don't know. He sighed. Fox Demon Empress said my strength is comparable to that of an empty immortal she once fought. So, I must be at that stage as well. Invincible at the Start, Chapter 68, Shizini's Report and Immortal Heritage Clan. Half immortal. Qin Chang'an squinted. Empty immortal stage was the same as being a half immortal. An empty immortal needed just a small opportunity to truly ascend, thus making it known as the half immortal stage. By reaching its peak, one held limitless strength in their bodies, forged to withstand immortal energy and leave for the upper realm. Taoba Yi is just a nascent soul yet has the power of a half immortal. It's good you have an understanding of where you are. Qin Chang'an nodded, not bothering to gauge Taoba Yi's real cultivation level. He'll have no trouble roaming the Ghost Province at the very least. Taoba Yi nodded, young master is right. With the return of Taoba Yi, Hong Yi and Foxy, Soaring Immortal Mountain became lively. While Baoer trained, Hong Yi attended to Qin Chang'an's every need. As for Foxy, having benefited from the Heavenly Fox clan's cultivation method, She entered deep sleep, processing a demon cultivation method tailored to her. In the case of Taoba Yi, he had two tasks: to hunt and provide food for the temple, and help Bauer with her Dugu Nine Swords training. His immortal body and tough strength made him the perfect sparring partner. Ling Bauer managed to shock him silly at the display of power the Dugu Nine Swords could unleash. She was just in the golden core stage, yet this sword art was so ingenious and incredible. The only reason he was unharmed was due to his immortal body. He knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that his previous nascent soul strength would have been pulverized under Ling Bauer's strikes. He could guess the art came from none other than young master, and Taoba Yi had nothing but endless veneration for the young man in white. Days passed, with the sacred immortal sword disturbance settling as no more demons came over or cultivators. The upper realm's immortal lord showed no sign of movement either. Soaring Immortal Mountain became akin to a paradise, peaceful and tranquil, a slice of heaven. As the sun finished its job for the day in the dusk's orange glow, Qin Chang'an stood tall with a firm gaze at the sky. There's no sign of any new immortal descending by the looks of it. His absolute domain crossed the 2,000-meter limit, covering a third of Soaring Immortal Mountain. It wasn't enough. He needed more domain points. He'd have his fill of points if only that immortal lord was sensible enough to send more immortals over for him to slaughter. Alas, the guy just wouldn't play ball, evident by the quiet dazed. Qin Chang'an sighed. Immortals are such cowards, hiding in a corner. A demon glow flashed as Hong Yi bowed before him. Young master, Shizini sends word. She presented a jade slip. It came from Cloud Province, where Shizini was right now. Qin Chang'an read it with a frown. It contained all the information Shizini gathered from Cloud Province. Shizini followed the rumors of Eternity Coven's destruction and discovered that it was due to Cloud Province's three great immortal heritage clans working together in the hope of getting the eternal body. The immortal heritage clans were just mortal clans that once had a member ascend, leaving their immortal legacy behind to strengthen their future hopes of ascending. Each immortal heritage clan had been around for 10,000 years, thriving in the Cloud Province. The second information he sent was regarding Feng Qiun. Shizini heard that Feng Qiun appeared in Cloud Province a month ago to challenge the three immortal heritage clans. Defeated, he fled to Bronze Mountain where his trail went cold. He also reported that his new talent earned the envy of the current scion of the Golden Python race and was hunted down. He fled to Bronze Mountain, deciding to search Feng Qiun while hiding from the Golden Python race's pursuit in the hope that Qin Chang'an would send help. Qin Chang'an's heart sank at the report. Master went to Bronze Mountain, a deadly area. As for the three immortal heritage clans, Qin Chang'an already saw them culled. Now he knew it was them who were after his eternal body. Tang, Shi, and Zhong clans had immortal heritage. As long as any member reached the peak of the empty immortal stage, they had a high chance of ascending with their legacy. It was not foolproof though, so they fell back on getting Qin Chang'an's flesh. His master warned him about this and Qin Chang'an only had a guess about their intent. But now he had proof. Qin Chang'an was not going to let them get away with this, not if he could help it. It was also stunning how Shizini got in troubles. Qin Chang'an said, Hong Yi, you and Taoba Yi are to take a trip to Cloud Province and help Shizini. If the Golden Python clan doesn't know what's good for them, set them straight. They have no chance of defeating Taoba Yi's strength. Understood, young master. Hong Yi left at once. Qin Chang'an sighed, Master, please don't die. Bronze Mountain is fraught with dangers. But worry not, I'll be sure to avenge you if you are, wiping the three immortal heritage clans from the face of these lands. Invincible at the Start, Chapter 69, Descending Green-Haired Devil and Passing Tribulation. The sky above the heavenly dragon city in Serene Province warped, turning into an immortal gate. The city's cultivators clamored at its appearance. It's the immortal gate of legends. Is an immortal descending? The cultivators were excited. Under the focus of thousands of eyes, a man in a green robe holding a golden fan in his right hand stepped out with a casual gait. He had fair skin, sharp eyes and thin lips, the picture of evil, yet bore a dignified look. His eerie aura swept the cultivators of Heavenly Dragon City, making them shudder. He gave the city a curious gaze, so this is the 9-province continent. 3 lights shot from the city and kneeled before the man. Greetings, immortal, to Heavenly Dragon City. The 3 were the strongest cultivators of the city, 2 men and 1 woman at the nascent soul stage. The youth in green came over, unnerving them. An immortal descent brought excitement but also fear. What was he doing here? Is this Ghost Province's myriad mountains? The man in green asked with a friendly smile. Immortal, this is Heavenly Dragon City of Serene Province. Where is Ghost Province? The man followed. Ghost Province is in that direction. A nascent soul cultivator offered. The youth beamed now. Thank you. It's our honor to guide you. The nascent soul cultivators replied with respect. Good, so you're offering to work for me, I see. The trio were stunned. Working for an immortal was a heavenly honor, not to mention the chance of grasping an opportunity of helping them meant allowing them the chance to ascend. They replied at once, we are willing to follow you to death, immortal. I'm hungry. What are you going to do about it? The trio blinked, lost. We shall prepare a feast, immortal. The table is set from where I see it. The man in green turned sinister. An evil energy swept the cultivators. Their hearts seized with dread. In a flash of green, the man turned into a green-haired devil with a ghastly face. All of Heavenly Dragon City cried out in fear. This isn't an immortal, but a devil. The devil opened its bloody maw and swallowed the three cultivators. With a clear snapping of bones, the devil chewed. He cackled at the end, lower realms bugs sure are tasty. I have to have my fill. Heavenly Dragon City's cultivators paled at the horrible demise of the three nascent soul cultivators. The devil's eyes shone scarlet and set upon the defenseless city as he swallowed. Not enough, I need more. Despair enveloped Heavenly Dragon City as darkness descended. The city was swallowed in cries of anguish. Minutes later, the endless cries halted as Heavenly Dragon City became a ghost town, with piles of bodies gathered everywhere. This was no city but hell itself. The green-haired devil turned back to his dignified persona and fanned himself. With a filled belly, it's time to go to Ghost Province and finish Immortal Lord's task. Qin Chang'an had a drawing before him. He frowned, deep in thought. Suddenly, thunderclouds gathered. A nascent soul lightning tribulation. Heavenly lightning struck down with tremendous force. Bauer gripped the sacred immortal sword, turning into a light and shooting into the tribulation clouds. In the temple, Foxy rushed on her tiny feet to hide behind Qin Chang'an from the awful rumble. Yi. Qin Chang'an chuckled. Don't be scared, Bauer is just going through her tribulation. Lightning snaked down with the power to sunder the earth. Ling Bauer had no trouble handling it. She flourished sacred immortal sword, blocking the flashes of lightning like nothing. Qin Ling's worries were put at ease. She's grown her skill in the Dugu 9 swords, enough to handle even nascent soul lightning tribulation. That's what you get from a talent surpassing the 9th grade. Bauer is rising to the nascent soul stage. Qin Chang'an turned his attention to the paper. Yay. Foxy looked as well, asking what it was. These here are the blueprints for reconstructing the Immortal Temple and the soaring Immortal Mountain. Taoba Yi had repaired the Immortal Temple before, but it became cramped now. It did not fit the glorious image of its invincible lord. The current style was too dull. It's my home, damn it. With Taoba Yi, Shizini, Hong Yi, as well as Bauer and Foxy, the temple felt small. So he wanted to rebuild it and recreate soaring Immortal Mountain while he was at it? His absolute domain did cover a third of it, after all. Foxy blinked, not really getting it. Qin Chang'an smiled. Just go and play. We'll have to see how long it will be for you to reach nascent soul. Yay. Foxy clenched her cute fists. She would give her all. Everyone knew nascent soul tribulation was a hard border to cross. Many cultivators of the 9 province continents stopped at the peak golden core stage, with very few being able to reach the nascent soul stage. It was all due to the heavenly tribulation. The many cultivators, including demons and monsters, couldn't take the pressure and would die instead. Ling Bauer notwithstanding. She had too many aces up her sleeve. First was the Immortal Lord's vital immortal artifact, Sacred Immortal Sword. Then there was her superior talent. Not to mention Qin Chang'an imparted her with Dugu 9 swords. Aside from that, Ling Bauer cultivated in an immortal land. The immortal energy transformed her body with every breath. Other cultivators, even robust demon kings, couldn't match Ling Bauer's toughness. With the fall of the last lightning, the tribulation ended. Invincible at the start, Chapter 70. Ling Bauer leaves and the rebuilt Immortal Temple. Ling Bauer was all smiles for reaching nascent soul stage at long last. While she finished her tribulation, Qin Chang'an got a notice. Disciple Ling Baoer reached nascent soul stage, 50,000 domain points earned. Qin Chang'an was floored. That many? You alright there, system? Only one immortal earned him 20 grand, yet Ling Baoer's nascent soul stage got him over twice that amount. It just blew his mind. Host needs not worry. The system is never wrong. Qin Chang'an was speechless. How come killing an immortal only gets me 20 grand, while Ling Baoer reaching nascent soul stage is over twice that amount? Immortals come from the upper realm and suffer penalties here. Per the system's analysis, it is worth 20,000 domain points each. Due to absolute domain becoming an immortal land and Ling Baoer being host's disciple, as well as system reaching V3.0, the host receives bonus domain points for advancing stages. 500 domain points was the standard reward for Ling Baoer reaching nascent soul stage, multiplied by 100 as a bonus. Qin Chang'an went wide-eyed. Damn. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Host didn't ask. Qin Chang'an? I was wondering why you gave me bigger rewards from Ling Baoer's breakthrough. To think it was because of this. Qin Chang'an smiled. That was great news for him. He was still worried about how was he supposed to earn points and expand absolute domain to cover soaring immortal mountain. Just a third of it took over 200,000 domain points. That meant he'd need around 500,000 more. It turned out that killing immortals wasn't the most efficient way of farming points. Qin Chang'an had no interest in taking disciples till now. He was pumped to have droves of them. Taking an even 10 and bumping them to nascent soul stage, the 50 grand bonus would be 500,000 domain points. Master, I reached nascent soul stage. Ling Baoer floated down with excitement in her voice, wishing to tell the good news to Qin Chang'an first. Qin Chang'an was ecstatic. Marvelous. Baoer, you've reached it far faster than I thought possible. Ling Baoer giggled at his praise. It's all thanks to Master improving my talent. Foxy was also thrilled for Ling Baoer's success. Foxy, you're just as talented as me. You're sure to reach nascent soul stage. Ling Baoer urged. Qin Chang'an's eyes shone. Right, I've yet to take Foxy as a disciple. By taking her under his wing, she'd reap him thousands of points in no time. The system warning came as a wet blanket, saying he had a limit of 5 disciples. It also said that Qin Chang'an didn't need to bother picking disciples. Be it cultivators, demons, monsters, or spirits, anyone who trained in the absolute domain would net him domain points from their advancement, though the boost was slightly lower, only at 50 times the base. Take a demon reaching nascent soul stage from Golden Core for instance. The base reward was 500 domain points, but now would be 25 grand. Qin Chang'an was more than pleased. He wanted disciples, but taking them in was a pain. He couldn't just go around taking the first one he saw, could he? Especially now since he was aware of the limit of 5. He'd need to think it twice over. Whatcha thinking, Master? Ling Baoer asked. She noticed the diagram before him and looked curiously. Master, what's this? Qin Chang'an smiled. I decided to rebuild the Immortal Temple and Soaring Immortal Mountain. As I turn this area into an immortal land, it must also look the part. Don't you agree? Master, makes total sense. The immortal land was filled with immortal energy. Ling Baoer cultivated here and knew just how better it was than anywhere else. Though it did lack something, style. It just didn't fit Master's otherworldly air. Master must have been busy these days. Qin Chang'an nodded, and many more following. These need to be done. Baoer? Qin Chang'an instructed. Master, how may I be of help? It's been a month now since you've come to Soaring Immortal Mountain. Now that you're at the nascent soul stage, I have a task for you. Please tell me, Master. Chen Ling looked at the spiritual herbs in the garden. They were all mere weeds with hardly a use. Revising Soaring Immortal Mountain meant they had to go, replaced with real spiritual herbs. It was the best way for them to turn into immortal herbs at some point. Baoer, go out and find me some spiritual herb seeds. Ling Baoer blinked. Seeds. Master, there are plenty back at the sect. Should I get some from there? Qin Chang'an nodded. Sure, and since you've been away from home for some time, you can also stay over a bit. Hi, I bet Daddy's going to flip when he sees me in the nascent soul stage. All my seniors will faint as well. Baoer gushed. She couldn't wait to show all of them how much she'd grown in cultivation. What kind of faces would they make? Baoer grinned with pride. Qin Chang'an bopped her head. What was that for, Master? You're to behave outside and show restraint. The sooner you go, the faster you return. Right. Don't worry, master. I'll get the seeds and be right back. Ling Bauer glanced at Foxy. Foxy, want to come with me? Foxy's eyes shone, but she glanced at Qin Chang'an. She didn't want to leave his side. Qin Chang'an chuckled, go with her and see the world. Since Soaring Immortal Mountain is being rebuilt, you won't have anything to do here. Yay yay. Foxy nodded. Ling Bauer packed in no time at all and was off for Nine Sword Sect with Foxy. Qin Chang'an was the only one left on Soaring Immortal Mountain. He sighed, feeling uneasy all by himself. Bauer reached Nascent Soul stage and has the sacred immortal sword to protect her. She should be safe as long as her opponent is beneath Spirit Severing stage. He wasn't that much worried about the girl's safety. Qin Chang'an used a day to finish the blueprint for his new domain. He stretched once done, next is rebuilding the immortal temple. Qin Chang'an flew to the very limit of the absolute domain to overlook Soaring Immortal Mountain. He pointed. Rumble. Endless power surged and flattened the immortal temple to dust. Fig was dumbstruck. What's young master doing? Is young master planning on leaving? In a moment of great distress for Fig, the Soaring Immortal Mountain shuddered. Fig felt how he was suddenly flying into the air. Invincible at the start, Chapter 71, transformed in genuine immortal land. One could not forget the resident everlasting immortal tree hovering as well, among the spiritual herbs and birds on Soaring Immortal Mountain. These were on Soaring Immortal Mountain from the start, and Qin Chang'an didn't plan on killing them all off. He covered but a third of Soaring Immortal Mountain, yet it proved enough to enact monumental change. Furthermore, thanks to the immortal energy suffusing the plants and animals in the absolute domain, they were practically reborn, shifting with every breath and every movement. Qin Chang'an smirked. With a thought, the Soaring Immortal Mountain within the absolute domain changed. Alas, this only happened at the peak. Dust and rocks flew about as it was flattened. With demolition out of the way, matter was recombined. The random gaps, overhangs and irregularities in the mountain were removed. That eyesore mound? Erased. That poking rock? Disintegrated. The thousands of meters tall Grand Mountain became even more majestic. The sacred fig was left shuddering with every ungodly move Qin Chang'an unleashed with but a snap of his fingers. Merely rebuilding a third of Soaring Immortal Mountain was enough to give it a totally new and grander look. Everything screamed novelty, from the fauna and flora to the cliffs and the sheer drops polished to a sheen. Qin Chang'an added a bit of flair to the cliffs by planting dried trees. The towering peak had mist surrounding it, with birds chirping freely. Going lower, the new forest looked ancient and vibrant. There was even a long and winding jade staircase leading to the top. The mountain sported extra terraces and gardens, perfect for planting spiritual herbs. Best of all, it was Tao-approved, blending seamlessly with the world. It was a genuine immortal mountain, filled with mysticism and nobility. The floating fauna started at the change in their home mountain. Qin Chang'an smiled and pointed. The fauna landed back on Earth. This was all done before he even started with the top. The height of Soaring Immortal Mountain was higher than any other around it outside of myriad mountains. It offered a clear and wide look to the world around. Qin Chang'an loved it. Looking at the blueprint, he built the immortal temple. First were the steps leading to it. Qin Chang'an made 2 stone pillars. Besides the thick immortal energy in them, they were engraved with legendary creatures such as dragons and phoenixes. Taking the steps to the peak, the aura was awe-inspiring. Qin Chang'an followed with the entrance. The former temple was quaint and shabby, without even an entrance. The entrance had the Eternity Temple written on it. This would no longer be some mere immortal's temple, but the Eternity Temple. Qin Chang'an resumed his grand undertaking. The plain rocks contained endless immortal energy, flickering in the sun's rays. A 10-meter-wide alley ran through the middle. On each side were pavilions and carved picket fences. A pond appeared at the very top the next moment, with the immortal energy so dense it liquefied. He placed some decorative fishes and spiritual plants inside. The lotuses in particular completed the surreal picture. Next came the Eternity Temple itself, and Qin Chang'an used creation. The immortal stones gathered to form a grand compound. The palace was formed of 9 buildings, built of fused immortal stones that surrounded the pond, with spiritual herbs growing at the edge. Qin Chang'an made sure to include the previous small garden as well. The tall sacred fig and the vibrant everlasting immortal tree were planted around the pond. Coming out of the compound, one would enter the garden and enjoy the immortal pond. The previous immortal temple couldn't even compare. Ling Bauer, Foxy, and the demons would get the shock of their lives. In the garden, the sacred fig had a pavilion under it. Qin Chang'an took a rest in the pavilion, proud of the new eternity temple. All that was left were the details, but he would hash them out later. Qin Chang'an grinned. Soaring immortal mountain, eternity temple, now this was a bona fide immortal land. Invincible at the start, Chapter 72, Plunder and Enraged Demons. As Qin Chang'an rebuilt soaring immortal mountain, it caused a great sensation throughout myriad mountains. The absolute domain was an immortal land and it generated tons of immortal energy, but the sheer amount of immortal energy dumped into the remaking process was mind-boggling. Even the two pillars marking the entrance were made with an obscene amount of immortal energy. To say nothing of the immortal stones making the new eternity temple, or the literally liquid immortal energy inside the immortal pond. The immortal pond alone took most of the absolute domain's immortal energy to generate such splendor, displaying unrestrained opulence. Due to its every drop being made of liquefied immortal energy, it dazzled the eye as the sun's rays fell on its surface. It was only a matter of short time for the average fishes Qin Chang'an raised in its waters to awaken and turn into veritable immortal fishes. The excessive drain of immortal energy forced the absolute domain to compensate for being sucked bone dry. Being an immortal land, every rock, pebble and dirt would generate immortal energy by itself, within reason. This unhealthy use of such incredible energy was beyond what this paradise could cope with. The absolute domain had no choice but to suck it out of the world beyond its limit. It became a black hole as it devoured the spiritual energy from all around. It went beyond simple recovery. It actually stole the world's spiritual energy. Since turning the stolen spiritual energy into immortal energy wasn't perfect, it led to the myriad mountains' demonic denizens panic as they felt the very air around them turning stale from the drop of spiritual energy. As spiritual energy was the foundation of cultivation, it was required for a cultivator to gain spiritual energy. As the immortal energy was linked with the upper realms principles, so was spiritual energy in relation to the world and its areas. In a cultivator city, the spiritual energy was thin, though a spiritual gathering array would compensate for this deficit, by taking the world's spiritual energy. As for the spiritual energy in nature, it led to the birth of treasures and spiritual herbs, even sanctuaries. It was for the same reason many if not most demons and monsters picked nature and mountains as their home. Sects did it as well, picking the perfect environment for their school. This explained the cultivators' unhealthy fixation with caves. Myriad mountains had plenty of such areas and thus many great demons among countless others. No matter how much the demons tried, there was no way for them to affect spiritual energy density within the myriad mountains, for it did not offset the land's replenishing. Due to absolute domain being a bottomless hole, the myriad mountains were sucked bone dry. It was obvious the many great demons within weren't the least bit pleased. Among the many rare sanctuaries within myriad mountains, there was one black pond housing a flood dragon. It had such intimidating demonic energy that it would scare any that approached, for it was at the peak of nascent soul stage, on the cusp of reaching the spirit-severing stage. The sudden lack of any spiritual energy around robbed him of this great opportunity to advance. Why has the spiritual energy vanished? Who's the rotten bastard that is up to no good? Roaring, he took to the skies in outrage, shooting in the direction of the spiritual energy suction. It's in the outskirts. Many other demons showed up for the same reason. These were mighty demon kings as well, having cultivated for thousands of years. Some of them had been secluded in their caves for centuries, even if not thousands of years. The sudden drop in spiritual energy around them left them stunned and furious, and they all focused in one direction. Fox Demon Empress and Bayou floated above their clan, glancing at the distant soaring immortal mountain. The Empress was grave. The spiritual energy is being robbed, going towards the myriad mountains' outskirts. Is it Senior's doing? Never in the history of myriad mountains were its spiritual energy reserves stripped clean. Soaring immortal mountain Senior was the only being she could think capable of such a feat. Bayou nodded. Grandmother, should we take a look? She didn't get to answer as demons streaked the sky to stop before her. Demon Empress, do you know what is happening? The dozen of demons had the black flood dragon in front. They were the strongest beings in Myriad Mountains if excluding Hurt. These demons were the mightiest of Myriad Mountains, gathered before Heavenly Fox Clan, all at the peak of nascent soul staged. They growled from anger at having their future stripped from them. The robbing of spiritual energy meant none could cultivate. It was like having their family killed, a hatred that could only be sated with blood. The only reason they hadn't scoured the outskirts and tore the criminal to pieces already was because Fox Demon Empress warned them to stay low when the immortals descended upon Myriad Mountains. This led to Qin Chang'an's feat of killing the said immortals unable to reach their ears. These great demons took it as immortals leaving Myriad Mountains, oblivious to Qin Chang'an's existence. Fox Demon Empress took in their furious looks and knew they were going to charge into the senior's home and make him page. Senior will be furious and will then take it out on each one of them. Alas, since they don't know about him, these great demons won't calm down with just a few words. She came up with a simple plan: there's no need for violence, everyone. The Black Flood Dragon howled, "Demon Empress, so you know who's behind stealing all the spiritual energy. I won't rest until he is no more. Yeah, this is a damn blood feud now. He stole our future." A crocodile demon nodded, approving the Black Flood Dragon's words. Humans are behind it for sure. They came to Myriad Mountains to steal it with some magic treasure. Demon Empress, we can't let them get away with this. The Demon Kings complained and raved at the injustice of it all. They were beyond reasoning. Baiyu and Fox Demon Empress shared a look. I wonder what faces they'd have if they knew Senior's might and terror. Invincible at the start, Chapter 73, Truth in Miao. Demons and monsters were violent by nature, especially these peak nascent soul demon kings. Some had nasty mean streaks. If not for Fox Demon Empress being the strongest here, the Myriad Mountains would have been soaked in blood and battle. There wouldn't be that many demon kings around either. On this day, however, the nascent soul demon kings gathered enraged at her doorstep for vengeance at having their precious spiritual energy taken away. They would not rest until Qin Chang'an was crushed, brutalized, pulverized, and fed to the fishes. Fox Demon Empress huffed, showing off her own power. Silence. The demon kings flinched at her might, unable to defend themselves from her aura. Their incessant whining ground to a halt and silence was instilled. Baiyu eased a breath and gave a curt bow. The situation on the outskirts of Myriad Mountains is complicated, and I ask that you all calm down before you suffer untimely demise of your own making. The demon kings blinked in confusion. The flood dragon growled, "There's no danger in these pathetic areas. Now that the immortals left, we have nothing to fear." He managed to stir the others back. He is right, Naya. Just some immortal traces aren't enough to scare the likes of us. A cultivator must be behind it, Naya. Once I get my hands on him, I'll peel his skin from his flesh, Naya. The speaker was a cat demon, moving past and taking hold of Baiyu from behind out of the blue with her quick movements. Baiyu, how long has it been? Baiyu felt her waist taken and blushed red. Miao, let go. Baiyu, Naya. Hasn't it been a century? I'm now in the 5th layer of nascent soul, Naya. The cat demon tilted her head and wore a cutsy smile. She had short, blonde hair, coupled with a slender figure in a tight leather package, with a small pair of cat ears on top completing the adorable look. The swaying cat tail behind her was very distracting as well. The cat demon smiled and let go of Baiyu, exploding with killing intent. Her slender fingers formed a claw and her hair stood straight, like a hissing cat. Damn bastard, Naya. I was so close to the 6th layer when my cave was drained of spiritual energy, Naya. Miao's anger resonated with the other demon kings. The calm washed away in an instant, replaced with growls and violent demonic auras hellbent on one thing only: to eat Qin Chang'an's flesh, to drink Qin Chang'an's blood, to suck Qin Chang'an's marrow. Baiyu glanced at the riled cat. Miao, relax and listen to grandmother. The Fox Demon Empress spoke in a low tone. The chances are it's soaring immortal mountain senior that robbed Myriad Mountains of all its spiritual energy. Isn't that a outskirts mountain? Demon Empress, for you to call him senior, does that mean he's stronger? Is he a spirit severing like Demon Empress? Yeah. Does that mean Myriad Mountains had a hidden demon emperor? It doesn't change a thing. He stole our spiritual energy, our future. How are we to cultivate now? A demon king complained. Fox Demon Empress continued. Not long ago, 12 immortal auras vanished out of the blue. Bai and I believe they had just left and went to investigate. There we found the truth that Senior killed all of them. For real? They died. Amiao's ears shuddered in fear, her claw falling and held on tight to Bai. Naya, I'm scared. Bai hugged Amiao close. The demon's new fox demon empress was not one to lie. The demons were struck dumb, unable to get a word out. The Senior killed immortals and they wanted to go over to give his last rites, only now they realized this was suicidal. They gulped, their hearts shaking in their chests. Their fangs were gone, their tails sagged, and their heads were hung in defeat. Gone was the anger and rashness. The fox demon empress knew they were scared and shook her head. Bai added, Senior is kind and elegant, carefree and mild. He must have had a very good reason for taking Myriad Mountain's spiritual energy. The fox demon empress nodded. Since everyone is here, we can pay respects together. Right? Do you know that Hong Yi, Shizini and Taoba Yi are now under Senior? They all knew those three for their strength and power, but to find out they bent the knee for someone was indescribable. They felt envious. What got them really excited were Fox Demon Empress' next few words. Senior helped Taoba Yi become a golden immortal. Not even I can best him now. She sighed in admiration and envy. For even she wished to work under Qin Chang'an. What fortune that Hong Yi is with Senior and ties the Heavenly Fox clan with him. She had been talking with Bai since then, hoping to get the latter to join Hong Yi. Is that true, Bai? Amiao had big eyes in disbelief. I never heard of a golden immortal. He must be incredible. Amiao's tail swayed in envy and desire. Invincible at the Start, Chapter 74, Demons Respect, Secular World's Immortal Mountain. The dozen demons landed at the foot of soaring Immortal Mountain. Fox Demon Empress was in the lead, followed by Bai and Amiao. The rest were the demon kings from other corners of Myriad Mountains. They decided to pay Qin Chang'an a visit, having heard the story of him killing the immortals from the Fox Demon Empress. In her words, she believed the Senior was an immortal slayer of immense strength. They only had to gain by getting in his good graces. This led to now, with them having not the slightest hatred against Qin Chang'an for robbing them blind of spiritual energy. In a strange twist of events, they even went back home to fetch some gifts instead. When meeting such a grand Senior, first impressions were crucial. They craned their necks, taking in the lofty mountain with the tip covered in clouds. The tension was palpable, as was their anxiety. Is this soaring immortal mountain? I don't recall it being so tall. Yeah, it looks even loftier, worthy of Senior's presence. So scary I'm already quaking. Bai said Senior is nice and mild, but won't he just kill us on sight? A shifty demon king squeaked out. Amiao gave the mountain a curious blink. Bai, is Senior up there, Naya? Bai nodded. Amiao, please wait here with the others. Grandmother and I will go first. We'll come back once Senior agrees to see you. Bai and Fox Demon Empress went ahead, leaving the scared demon kings behind. Amiao's tail flicked about, betraying her curiosity towards Senior. The flood dragon stepped out. Amiao, what gift have you brought Senior? What's with the question, Naya? The flood dragon beamed with pride as he took out his own gift, a lotus seed shining in 5 immortal colors. I had the fortune of finding a precious lotus seed from the everlasting Jade Lake 3,000 years ago. It contains not only incredible energy but also traces of Tao. It was thanks to this amazing item that I reached the peak of the nascent soul stage. I'm sure that presenting such a precious seed will make Senior happy to have me as his subject along with Taoba Yi. Oh. Amiao nodded, quite the fancy gift, Naya. The flood dragon carefully tucked in the precious seed. Amiao, will you let me see yours? Amiao beamed, her storage ring flashing. A bottle popped in her hand, holding a swimming golden carp. A fish? The flood dragon gasped. Yep, a butterfly koi, my favorite. Senior is sure to love its taste, Naya. The flood dragon looked worried. Amiao, Senior is an immortal slayer. He might not take kind to a mere butterfly koi. Amiao winced. The Fox Demon Empress and Bai had entered soaring Immortal Mountain. They came over for a visit but were quite tensed. Will Senior blame us? As their eyes landed upon the new and improved soaring Immortal Mountain, they gawked. The Fox Demon Empress stammered, "Is this an immortal mountain?" The clouds drifted on soaring Immortal Mountain, among the thick immortal energy about. A waterfall 3 miles high splashed crystal water in a pond below, surrounded by birds and animals alike as they walked out of the lush vegetation. The rainbow forming from the falling water added to the immortal scenery. Baiyu shuddered, giving the soaring immortal mountain a goony look. I bet that cultivating here will make life worthwhile. They walked through the vibrant grass, peering at the clear water, getting used to the new soaring immortal mountain as they climbed to the peak. The mesmerizing scenery felt like they were in a fairy tale. As they passed a large rock, their eyes feasted on the two immortal pillars and the words written above the entrance. The two exchanged a glance. The Fox Demon Empress bowed at the entrance with utter respect. Ning Su is here to see you, Senior. Baiyu did the same. Baiyu is here to see you as well, Senior. Come in. Qin Chang'an's voice echoed. The Demon Empress and Baiyu eased a breath and entered Eternity Temple. They found Qin Chang'an in the garden, playing chess with Fig. He turned around with a smile. What brought you to Eternity Temple? Qin Chang'an hid his immense pride behind his poker face. He had noticed them entering Absolute Domain and was watching them. I knew they were going to flip after I remodeled Soaring Immortal Mountain. With no Bauer or the others around to flex, it made the new look he gave the Soaring Immortal Mountain feel stale. Since the Demon Empress and Baiyu came, he could now finally show off. Qin Chang'an smiled. Having chosen Soaring Immortal Mountain for my cultivation, I did a little redecorating. What do you think? Such splendid and flawless work, Senior. It's like true paradise and immortal domain. It feels nothing short of a dream. The Fox Demon Empress spoke, shock obvious in her tone at the sudden and radical changes the Soaring Immortal Mountain went through. Not to mention the thick immortal energy surpassing the spiritual energy outside. Here in this paradise she felt light like she could ascend anytime. The fresh feeling was too intoxicating for anyone to want to leave. Baiyu nodded. She looked around and found it empty. Where is Sister Hong Yi and the others? Qin Chang'an smiled, noticing her curious glance. They had to leave on some matters. I'm the only one left on Soaring Immortal Mountain right now. To what do I owe your visit? The Fox Demon Empress hesitated, not knowing how to breach the subject of him stealing all the spiritual energy. Qin Chang'an smiled. Please sit and let's have a friendly chat. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.